Hello. Happy
evening.
Friday.
Hey, everybody.
And hello, Saf. Sapphire. Thanks for joining us.
I'm back.
You're back. Came back.
Don't know why.
Don't know why. Nice Christmas tree. Very festive.
Yeah, it is December, so it's the right thing to do.
Is it real?
It's real. It's a real tree next to my real corals. So, you know, I can look at both at the same time.
It looks like you got Christmas tree lights in your tank.
No, I do. I do, Jeremy.
I thought it was like, yeah, you know, I thought that's what they meant by glitter gonny or something. You know, you had like lights.
No. Evening, Ron. Evening, Jeremy. Thanks for joining us.
Evening, Tom.
Good week. Much to report. Anything exciting? Anything not so? Anything?
I have a light over my tank.
You do?
I saw your Instagram.
Oh, you mean
so bad at Instagram?
Well, I'm going to go on that.
You mean that light? That light?
What light? I can't see a light.
Yes, you can.
That's your tank.
So it was growing my carpet really well. I was getting good pile extension, but eventually got the hanging kit to hang the light, and I started to eventually trust it with the weight. And I have to say, within 30 seconds, I was absolutely in love with the Spectrum. It just looks so much nicer.
Yeah, it's nice.
What's the app like? What's the app like?
The app's all right, although I kind of like quite quickly just went straight to using the login with the what's it called?
Has it got like a recommended?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went with the 192.168, whatever it is, on my browser on my computer, and so I had it on a bigger screen, and I could look at the graph in a much bigger screen. Yeah. So yeah, it does come with there's inbuilt presets for shallow reef, deep reef, things like that. So I just went with shallow reef and chose the time it starts and ends, and that's it.
Nice. That light looks awesome. That tank looks awesome as well. I'm a little bit. I'm funny about the Stratton Pro because I wrote about them for Reef Builders like 2 years ago, and you all know that we've had none in the UK whatsoever.
And I read that article, and I've wanted one ever since.
I literally had people having a go at me saying, you know, where are they? And I'm like, I don't know. We spoke to the old distributor, and he didn't have any. I spoke to ATI in Germany, and they didn't have any. And then they switched distributor, and suddenly they're available. So that just about says it all to me.
Was it Fastlight or something? What was the company called?
Yeah, it was Fastlight. Yeah.
So I emailed them. They basically said we don't have any, and we don't know if we're getting any. I was like, okay.
Yeah, the people who are distributing them now as well, I have to say, have probably the best customer service of any reefing company in the UK.
Definitely.
Great.
Shout out to Exodus, especially Steve. What an absolute legend.
Do you know what? Kez, who we have up here in the north, is brilliant as well.
Everyone recommends
They're both really good.
Everyone. Yeah. And I told her when I met her, I told her that I said, Kez, I've never met you before, but everyone says good things about you.
Yeah. She knows a lot of stuff. She's got a really lovely tank as well. But no, I feel like if you're spending the amount of money that the Strattons require, you want really, really good customer service to back that up. So I'd be happy to buy one off of them.
Cool.
Have you mounted it, Ron? Because you've obviously ceiling mounted it. Have you done anything with the ceiling first? Have you?
No. So I had RMS rail with 2 Radians on it, and I just unscrewed the fitting from the ceiling, passed the ATI Stratton cable through, and it was perfect. Absolutely perfect.
So you already had suspended lighting?
Yes.
Nice.
So I literally just changed the hanging wire, and it was up in 3 minutes. Done.
People don't hang lights enough anymore. We all used to hang metal halides because we had to. And then we've all gone to brackets and arms. Sapphire, that's brilliant.
Do you know what's even more brilliant is I actually didn't put them up myself. We had a customer at work who was an engineer, and he knew when I bought this new tank, and I said, "Oh, are you busy next Monday?" And he said, "No." And I said, "A, can you help me come and fill it up? And B, will you put my lights in the ceiling for me, please?" He did.
Perfect. But like the access to the tank is so much better with it versus, you know.
Yeah.
mounting arms and everything kind of in the
Yeah, and you can hoist them up and down. So I've left a bit of the cable on mine,
Same here.
so I can lower them and
Just
pull them up out the way if I want to.
That's an interesting point, actually, because if you think about the mount for the Radian, even though the lights on Gen 6, the bracket height has never changed. Have you noticed that? And so like Gen 3 was like, brighter than the sun, and then Gen 4 got wider, then Gen 5 wider, then Gen 6, and now the height, because the height hasn't changed, the power has changed significantly between a Gen 3 and a Gen 6 for lots of reasons, but also the fact that you can't height adjust the bracket.
Yeah, the amount you can tweak your par by just bringing down your rail by an inch, 2 inches. I mean, I did it. I checked my par. It was a bit low. My lights are all on 100%. I just lowered it by 2 inches, and now I've got like, an extra 100 par.
Well, the thing I like the most about the Stratton so far, other than the fact it just looks super cool, is the fact that there's absolutely zero light spill out the sides of my tank onto my desk at work now. And I mean none. My desk actually feels a little bit dull and uninteresting.
So hang on. It's silent as well. It's silent and it's got no light spill.
Silence was the first thing that attracted me to it, because when I sit at my desk in the summer and the office gets quite warm, when the fans crank and I answer the phone, people do say, "Have you got a wash on in the background?" But this is completely silent. I ran it most of yesterday evening and then felt the actual aluminium housing, and it was warm to the touch, but not really warm. If it's cranked, I reckon it would get.
But you're not meant to lick it, Ron.
I lick everything to test it. I'm just a child. Everything goes in my mouth, and
you lick batteries, don't you?
Yes,
he does.
Who doesn't?
That's why you tested. There's still some in there.
So what are you giving it in terms of comparison to the Radion then? Because what were you running before? Do you remind us? Sorry, what was on there before?
2G5 Radions that I recently just upgraded the lens kit to the G6 version. So I loved the Radions. There was nothing wrong with the Radions. I literally have been waiting to buy a Stratton since I read Jeremy's article on it. And when I eventually found live on this very channel that Exodus had API distribution rights in the UK, I text Steve live.
You did. I remember. I remember you doing it.
And ordered it live.
There and then.
Yes. So, no, I can't give it a mark out of 10 because I don't know how it's going to grow corals. But the fact that it's silent, it looks really, really nice. The corals look so much nicer from a spectrum point of view. And yellow tang is like he's painted in highlight with yellow pen. It's unbelievable. Did I not send you the other photo from the corner of the tank, Tom?
No, I don't think so, mate. Sorry. No, just got these.
So yeah, I love it. And the fact that there's no spill onto my desk either. And you can see there's quite a distance between it and the tank. The Radians I had really low because the light spill from the Radians onto my desk was actually really, really distracting. Because I work with two screens right next to that. That tank is there in my office at my face. So I just turn around and I'm in the ocean.
It's great. Lovely tank. Lovely scape. I like it. Really like it.
I really like your Acan garden.
Yeah, isn't it cool? So I only wanted that entire tank to be purely SBS, but see that lower bit, I knew I couldn't put acros to grow because it's going to grow, it's too close to the glass. And then I got a batch of Acans in from my wholesaler, and I was like, that's just perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
Absolutely perfect. And they'll just sit there bobbling around each other, all fluffy and puffy.
Yeah.
No, I love them.
I think it's really impressive that you've managed to make them all grow at the same rate.
Isn't it? Well, you say that. The one in the far left, which is the dark blue and green, slightly slower than the others.
Is that slightly shadowed though?
Yeah, it's a wee bit.
Yeah,
it's a wee bit. Yeah. And the Monty, the green Monty, you can see on the face there, has encrusted the entire underside of the aquascape.
No way.
That's why I did the reflective bottom of the tank to give the reflection. So I actually have a coral completely colonized the entire bottom of the scape.
Yeah, that's what you get in bare bottom tanks.
Has it got color underneath, or is it white?
No, it's completely green.
What?
I'll try and get some shots of it. It's I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, we have it in the shop actually quite a lot because we've got grow out in the back, and we have obviously all our coral trays in the shop are bare bottom, as are all our grow outs. But
yeah,
we get it where things that encrust will encrust down the plug, down the sides, and to the base of the plug. They'll bleach out where they're going through the egg crate, but the bottom part will stay alive and have full color. So you'll get like the base of the frag plug having like a separate frag to the top.
Wow.
And then you sell the frag and the customer says, can you chop the base off? And you go, there's coral down there. And they go, can't stick it down though.
There's a Jingle Bell Cyphastria below the far left acan encrusting
Oh, right. Yeah.
with almost no light.
Yeah.
Interesting. How long has it been running, Ron? Do you remind me? I can't remember what you told me before. How long has it been running?
Which version?
Oh, sorry. The live rock, let's just say. Let's go with the live rock.
It's been running about 2 years. But obviously the tank has now been replaced twice.
Yes.
So can you just lift that whole thing out then?
Well, I don't.
No.
I'll let Tom just go on.
It's too easy. Go on. I'll let you finish. Sorry, it's too easy.
I am very fortunate to have some strong members of staff. I have
26.
I have a spinal condition. I can't. Lucky if I can lift a pen. So they came in and did it, and I filmed it all. It's on YouTube, and they did an amazing job. Not one single bit of coral got broken, damaged. They did drop my coal tang on the floor, but I rushed in and got it.
I was going to say, Ron, I've met people like you. That's called passing the buck and passing responsibility, so that if they drop your mega structure covered in acros, it's their fault.
There is absolutely no audio in the video because I was just like, don't do that. Don't keep that away from that. Keep that. don't stand behind here.
Wow.
We put a very big display in our shop when we opened. It's a water box. You can't buy them in the UK anymore, and it's a big 6-foot Infinia, and it's got 30mm glass base. And 19mm glass all around, and the tank itself weighed. I mean, I didn't have to pick it up. Men did this, but I don't know, 600 kilos maybe. It was immense, and I was filming them putting it in, but the film goes very, very bad on the last bit, and that's because I had to shut my eyes and look away because I couldn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, modern reef tanks, they're not even funny because of the glass thickness, and we associate glass thickness with it not bowing, it being more secure, it being more luxurious, but it weighs an absolute ton. Like when I started in the trade, a 5x2x2 was made out of 10mm. Now it's made out of 19mm. It's like at least twice as heavy, if not more. You know, it's just crazy. And what happens is, from selling these tanks is, you know, most of these are drop shipped curbside. And then you've got, like, you know, even a husband and a wife, when really you need 6 blokes to carry this tank. And that's when all the problems start, you know, and that's when they chip them as well, because, you know, they're struggling so much.
Easiest way to get divorced, though, isn't it? Cheapest, anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Just use it as a coffin.
I've always said that I want a fish tank as my coffin. I used to want a 2-meter Rena tank back in like the early 2000s for me to like lie in with gravel, plastic plants, background, everything. But now I might go for something different.
Right, okay.
Those backgrounds that you get on like the roll in the fish shops in like the early 2000s.
Oh dear.
You say to the person, can I have 2 meters of that, please?
Do you want I'll tell you a little story about that, right? So I used to sell loads of that really naff background on the rolls, and someone came in, they kept buying roll after, you know, piece after piece. I said, what are you doing with it? They said, I'm wallpapering my house. And they were using the background as wallpaper.
That sounds classy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go. Yeah.
That will only add value to that.
Nice.
Tropical paradise.
If you bought a big fish tank and put it against the wall, then you wouldn't have to buy the backing paper.
Like it. Maybe that was their thinking. It's probably wiped clean as well.
Well, that reminds me of something I wanted to ask you tonight. But before we go into that, we're nearly 15, 20 minutes in. We haven't said hello to everybody who's joined us on this Friday evening. So I'm just going to jump into the comments and say hello to those of you that have made the effort, and happy Friday to you all.
There is something a little bit more important though, Tom.
Hi, everyone.
How long are we in? 16 minutes, and somebody has said sharks.
There you go.
Ah, right, okay. Marvelous.
Just to say it. I don't know if that's a free. Is that a free T-shirt, Tom?
No, well, you need to tally them up, Ron, and we'll have to look at it closer towards the end of the show.
That sounds like fun.
Jeremy can be the judge. All
And
right.
the audience has actually already missed 20 minutes of Shark Talk before we went live because Sapphire went, are you the person who mouthed off about sharks on Facebook that time? And I went, yeah. So it's just
dear,
it's becoming a bit of a thing actually. But there you go.
Pause for now. Evening Norfolk Reefer can't make tonight. He's gone out for a Christmas bill. Yeah, there's lots of people going out for Christmas dues at the minute. And my missus is out there at the minute around Sheffield. And I'm really hoping in the next hour and a half, she doesn't come back in intoxicated and barge through this very door at the side of me saying hello to you all on live stream. Because that would be amazing, I'm sure, for everybody watching. But I'm really hoping she doesn't.
Somebody text her. Tell her to come home early.
Don't tell Kaz to do that. No.
I'm also very panicked that my boyfriend will do the same thing because he too is out competing with all his work friends.
Yes, that's where Kaz is now with her work. She got picked up at 4:00 this afternoon, and she doesn't drink. And it's now 8:20, and I've not had a text message or anything yet. So I hope it's going well. We shall see.
How's the time to buy another Tom?
Yeah.
Well, I've made sure the spare room up here is accessible, and the bathroom's next to it, so she can scream down the toilet all she wants. Anyway, right. Evening, Tom. Thanks for joining us. Howdy from California.
Hey, Tom.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us all the way from California, mate. Appreciate the effort and the support. Johnny Boy's in the house as per usual. John,
Evening,
I've
John.
still not had your email about these Christmas John Wright flasks being delivered. You'll have to let us know. Bit of peer pressure there. No, I'm joking. Everybody wants a John Wright mug. I'm sure he's sorting some out. Bless him. I hope you well, though, John, from sunny Skegness. Techers Reef. Evening, Techers Reef. Hope you're good.
Evening.
Hi.
Liam's the gentleman with the shark, sorry. Hence the avatar with all the sharks sat there on a bench. Kills Aquarium.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hey, Liam. What else we've got in the house? Amanda is with us. Happy
Good
weekend.
evening, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
Happy Friday. Jim from the States.
Nice Jam.
Yeah, Jam. Hope you're good, Jim.
Hey, Jam.
Nice to see you in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us. Who else have we got in here tonight? Steve, East Coast Reefer. Hope you're good.
Steve.
Evening. Hello.
He's a lunatic, by the way.
I like his logo thing. Everyone's got these nice logos. And as soon as I went on TikTok the other day, everyone was messaging me and I thought, oh, they want to talk about like reefing stuff. And they were like, can I sell you a logo? And like every single one of them, logo. So,
They do.
Yeah.
He doses his tank with iron brew, doesn't he, Ron?
He does. The man's a maniac.
I'm thinking it's a form of carbon dosing, probably.
Yeah,
probably works.
Sugar, definitely. Yeah,
Such a nice guy.
Zach, evening to you.
Evening,
coming on
all the way from Michigan.
That's it, all the way from the States. Anything aquarium maintenance?
John.
Nice to see you, John. Was that the chat with the tattoos? It was, wasn't it? That was nice to see him on your show the other day. That was Steve's tank tour, wasn't it?
It was.
On Reef EF.
John's a handsome little sausage, so he is.
Just you to pick up on that, Ronald. Evening, Critical. Thanks for coming on. Hope you're good. Happy Friday to you.
Good evening.
Leroy, you're a bit late.
Evening.
Join us now. Evening, Lee.
Hi, Lee.
Hope you're good.
He's been too busy filming. Evening.
He has been doing a lot of filming recently. I'm looking forward to catching up with him over the weekend.
He's got a new logo as well.
He has. See, it's not hard, Jeremy. There's plenty of technology out there.
Who do I go with?
Jeremy, do you want me to make you one live right now? While
do it. Yes. Oh, that would be amazing.
Tell me what you want it to be, and I'll make it right now.
A shark. A man stroking a shark.
Don't.
With an aubergine? Did you say aubergine? There.
This shark thing is going to follow me around for the rest of my life. It's really bad.
You are its chum.
This is a problem.
You just need to write something more controversial about something else in reef keeping.
I can probably do that.
Yeah, and something else will follow you around forever.
Ask Sapphire about live rock from Bali and Dynamite. That'll
go
start
on.
a nice conversation.
No, go on. I'm into all that.
Well, I think real live rock from the actual sea is really unethical.
Okay. Yeah, I think
you
you're
know,
probably right.
Yeah, they harvest it with explosives. They're taking it out of actual living coral reefs. Yeah, it's not good news. I mean, like, amazing. Well done. You've got some bacteria from the sea, but you've also destroyed a lot of nature. And also, you've probably brought yourself loads of pests in.
For the record, I wasn't trying to spur that on. My apologies. Stood in the dog shit there. Sorry.
Yeah, so I like man-made rock, and I like just chucking in absolutely loads of bacteria, stealing some bio balls from somebody else's tank and just, I don't know, filling it with other stuff.
Agreed. So I wrote an article about that saying the best way to start a tank is just take some mature ceramics from an old tank. And it just fell on completely deaf ears. Everyone was like, what are you talking about, dude? Just get live rock. And I'm like, that's not the point. You don't need it.
Yeah. I mean, look, a coral reef can grow some more corals. More fish will hatch. You can ethically and sustainably take
fish from the sea.
But a coral reef can't grow more rock. I mean,
well, it can. It just takes a long time.
Yes, exactly. But it takes a bit longer than the next time the corals spawn. Or it's not going to happen next year, is it?
No,
by the time it's made some actual rock, the coral reefs are probably already dead by this point.
Yeah, not good. Not good.
I actually started this tank by doing. BRS wrote this really interesting article about this souping method that they, were talking about loads at the time, where they essentially got big vats and chucked a load of man-made rock in and loads of bacteria and made it really nutrient heavy and soaked this rock so it got absolutely saturated with nitrates and phosphates. Because I mean, a lot of the problems people are having now with tanks is nutrients bottoming out. So I decided I wanted to do that when I started this one, but I couldn't be bothered to get a vat sat in my house or my shed and get some rock going in there. So I thought, do you know what? I'll just do it in the tank. So before I got corals in, I had no filtration running. I didn't really have my lights on more than 10%. And I just pummeled it with food and kept adding fish. And I pushed my phosphate up to about 0.6. And I pushed my nitrate up to about 60. And then I turned on all the filtration, started stripping it out, started a bit of carbon dosing. My nutrients fell, and they've been really stable ever since.
Did you still get the ugly phase or not?
Nope, none at all.
There
was one little blip that did happen. During my chucking things in phase, I was chucking in quite a lot of phytoplankton. And I went a little bit overkill on that with all the nutrients. And then there was that massive, I set it up, not this summer, but the one before, when there was that huge heat wave when it was 42 degrees, if you remember. And I had a massive phytoplankton bloom. Horrific. You couldn't see through the tank. It looked like pea soup. It was horrific. I stuck a UV on it and it went away. But no, after that, never had to treat the tank for cyano, never had diatoms, always had clean sand, spotless.
Yeah, I find that if I not even overdose, if I dose as recommended, anything like aminos or phyto, I tend to get cyano. Most of them, especially phyto. If I overdose that and just chuck it in, because you chuck it in and you think this is great because corals use this, so I'll just put more in, and before you know it, you just chucking all these bottles in, and I get quite bad cyano from that.
Yeah, no, I've never had really. I had a tiny little patch of cyano in one corner that stuck around for months, and then it went away. So that was that. I mean, I'm quite hands off with this tank. I try not to do too much to it.
Sounds good.
Jeremy.
Yes.
You are graced with a suggestion from Ron here. He's just sent me his suggestion for your first avatar.
Go on.
I'm just waiting for it. It's literally here. 1 second.
It's not rude, is it, Ron?
No, he wouldn't do that to you.
No.
Well, he would.
I've just made an alternative one, Tom. I'm just gonna pass this through.
Oh no, it's gonna.
Evening, Dave. Hope you're well, mate. Anyway, hope you're good. Hope you're good, Senna. I think it looks all right. That. There you go. Look at that. Boom. Reef keeping news.
I really like that.
That's all right. Colourful for you.
Yeah, it's a bit AI, isn't it? Is that a pumpkin on it?
That's an anus. That's an anus.
Ron, I can't do the one you've just sent me, so you can.
There's nothing rude about that, Tom. It's a vegetable.
Yes, there is.
Vegetable.
Anyway, let's keep on.
Hang on a minute.
Let's keep on track.
No, that's really interesting. Oh, yeah, I do prefer that. Can we just let's go back to that. Check out the clownfish stroke angelfish butterfly hybrid at the bottom.
So one of the weird things AI does is it gives fish two tails instead of a head, so it's just literally two tails joined with a body.
Oh,
it's not perfect, but yeah,
I like it. Thank you.
Let's have a look who we've got in the house tonight. Who else is with us on this Friday? Oh, everybody's talking about themselves. The music room. What's up, Reefers? That's got to be Carlos, Reef King. Hope you're good, mate. Thanks for the support. He was giving me some advice the other night on merchandise, key rings, hats, beakers, everything he wanted. So, yeah, for free, obviously, of course. Hope you're well, Carl. Hope you're doing good, mate. Happy Friday. Chris Gallier. Evening, Chris. Hope you're good.
Hi, Chris.
Evening.
Thanks for joining us. And Claire.
And Claire, his wife. Yeah.
And Claire, his wife. Happy Friday to you both.
Yeah.
Hope you're having a good Friday evening. Have a good weekend. Scotty boys in the house. Evening, ladles and tablespoons. Nice to see you, Scott. Hope you're good. Hope your tank's doing well. Who else have we got here? Rob's here. Evening, girls and boys.
Evening, Rob.
Here he is.
Here he is with his coral babies. Hope they're doing well.
Have they spawned? I missed it. I missed it on Sunday.
Doesn't have coral babies.
I know. I'm just keep calling it that.
He had jizzy eggs, I think was the correct term.
Okay.
Right, okay. Well, I'll just try to keep it a
spawned.
little bit cleaner. Evening, Haley. Hope you're good. Happy Friday to you. Who else we've got in the house? Bearded Fish Guy. Even though I can't stay out long, we'll be catching up later. Thank you very much. Yarek, hello. Not spoke to you in ages, mate. Hope you're good.
Hi, Yarek.
Tell us if you've got a new tank. He was umming and ahhing about getting a new tank last time we met him at Aqua H. Don't know whether he went and got one or not. Have to let us know. Successful Reef Aquariums. Evening all. Thanks for joining us. Nice avatar. That's pretty cool. Evening. Darren's in the house. Evening. I'm sure I'll be getting some abuse from Darren at some point this evening. I'll ignore it for as long as I can. He's normally one that picks on me straight away. And we've got Rod and Reefer, Paul from my way. Hi, Paul. Hope you're good, mate. Nice to see you. Local Reefer to me. Only 10 minutes away.
I thought Rod and Reefer was actually you, Tom, on Instagram or TikTok.
No,
it's not you then.
It's not me, no. It's Paul, a chap called Paul. He's not been in lobby 5 minutes, to be fair. I hope you don't mind me saying this. He's been lucky enough to get some support from Red Sea because he's been pushing a lot of their products online.
Oh,
They've
nice.
given him a bit of support, and he's got his first ever tank. So I think it's a Nano. I can't remember exactly which one, but he's got himself a little tank. He's doing really well with it. Came to my house, wanted to see the tank. Gave him what did I give him? Rose tip, sort of rosy pink hammer for his tank. Of course, free of charge.
A coral.
And, yes, I gave him a coral. Yes.
Sorry, just you said pink hammer. Just thought you were giving him some lady tool. That's all.
It's not 9 o'clock yet, Ron.
An actual
8:30.
I like it.
It was nice. It was one I'd had for a while anyway. So he's loving it. It's doing well. He's got the itch, shall I say? So he's doing really well with his tank, and it's looking good. So nice to see him on here. And thanks for the support again, Paul. I hope you're good. Reef 216, evening to you. Reef 216, hope you're good.
Evening.
We've
got Leah in the house as well. Thanks for joining us, Leah. And I think
I know the answer to this.
On no pox, slime in the sump. Go on then.
Yeah, the answer to this is if your nitrates drop below about 8, I find, or if your phosphates drop below about 0.06, you'll get slime in the sump, and that's because no pox is essentially it's a bacterial feed, right? So you're putting that in to feed the bacteria that break down nitrate and phosphate. But if you have nitrate and phosphate that drops really low, it's going to stop feeding that bacteria and it's going to start feeding other bacteria it can find. So all that slimy, milky stuff in the sump is bacteria, but it can also start feeding things like cyano as well, which you don't want. So if your levels are swinging around a bit, you really need to keep an eye on them. If you are feeling like really nerdy, you can go to the Yorkshire Reefs website, and I've written some help articles on there, and I wrote one called Adjusting Your Nutrients. And you can scroll down, see which range you've got for your nitrates and phosphates, and there'll be a little bit underneath there that will tell you how to bring the relevant one up or down to get them in line. Get some Hannah checkers.
Very cool.
Yes.
I like it.
Right, I'm just being corrected on who this is. So this is Mr. Sean Russell himself, Acro Man.
Who?
Good evening.
Successful Reef.
Yes.
Hello, Sean.
I've just been messaged. Hello, Sean. And he will be one of your guests next Friday when you have an Acropora off, or whatever you want to call it.
I cannot wait. I met Sean for the first time at Paul Hughes's do, and we both went in the shop afterwards, and it was absolutely mental in there. There was like 100 people all trying to get the fish that they'd reserved from earlier. And like I said before we went live, like, that's my natural habitat. So I just picked up nets and just started like bagging my own and like bagging other people's. And I was like, Sean, let's have it. Sean was like, yeah, okay. So Sean's doing it as well. We're both just like net deep in like Paul's tanks, just getting our own stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so for anybody that doesn't know that's watching right now, next Friday, Jeremy's going to be hosting. He'll be popping his cherry and sitting in the big chair and hosting an Acropora chat, or SPS dominant chat, should I say. But try not to be all the evening. And it's going to include Sean, who we just talked about now, Sean Russell, Acro Man, Christian from Signature Frags, and we've got Leonardo on from Leonardo's Reef in Holland. So that should be definitely one to tune in for. So yes, looking forward to catching up on that one next Friday. Who else have we got in the house? I think I've missed somebody there, so apologies. Let's have a look here. Let's have a look. Where are we? Peter Parry. Evening, Peter. Sorry I missed you. Happy Friday. I'm FaceTiming Tom's mum now. Please don't. Bruce's mummy. Evening, Bruce's mummy. So yeah, Bruce is the shark, Jeremy, and that's the shark's mum, just so you know. Hence
okay.
Yeah.
Ah.
Okay.
Cool.
So I'm just so you get it.
Very cool. What shark is it?
Bamboo.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Sleeveless Reefer.
Oh, it's Jason.
How are we doing?
Jason.
Yes.
Evening.
Literally allergic to wearing anything with sleeves.
Yes, he is.
Make them physically sick.
Do you know what though? Not having sleeves and sticking your arm in a fish tank is really the way forward.
Yeah, I'm all for it. We don't have the climate here, I'll be totally honest. One of my moobs would just like slip out the side, probably.
So do you have the Rapsy Nesbitt sort of white string vest then normally when you're at work? Is that the normal look you go for?
No.
When I'm at work, I wear jumpers mainly, and I have just wet arms all the time. I'm just used to it.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to you, Sapphire, not wrong.
And like, I mean, even that's, look, you can see that's been wet in the past because it's actually stretched out.
Yeah. Mine are the same. Look at this.
I knew it. Telltale sign.
Yeah.
I'll go get some of my old trainers with salt creep on.
Is this a new section to the Reefers Network's soggy sleeve corner?
Yeah. Well, the worst is actually you get soggy armpits mainly. You think you point your sleeve up far enough, you stick your arm in really deep, and you can't get that dry again. I can deal with a wet wrist, but
yeah, you're right.
I went to a customer's house a few weeks
ago. Oh, are you sure you want to know about this, Sapphire? Go on.
I had to get some NEMS out his tank, which he had stupidly put in. And it was a very big tank. And I was so wet at the end from dipping myself in the tank that he actually said to me before I left, do you want to borrow a clean T-shirt? And I had to take a T-shirt off a customer and wear it home.
How deep was the tank? Was it a deep tank?
4 foot.
4 foot deep?
Wow.
Yeah.
I know a guy with a 4 foot deep tank. I wonder if it's the same guy.
It's probably the same man. Yeah, it's probably the same man. Up in Newcastle.
No, thank God. I thought you'd stolen my customer then, Sapphire.
No, he's been one of Duncan's customers really for a very, very long time. But no, he's Christian knows him. But yeah, he's got some lovely macros.
Nick?
Yeah, Nick. Yeah. But for some reason, in this lovely SPS dominant tank, he decided to put some bubble tips in.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No, well, he put one bubble tip in, which became 8, and then it was becoming a problem.
Okay.
So he recruited my help, and I had to climb up a scaffold platform, lean over his tank in the middle, lie across all the brace bars, and dip the top half of my body. My face was under the water.
Yeah.
It's
a nightmare, isn't it? I mean, 4-foot tanks look amazing, but they just fill me with dread. I mean, I've got I don't have long arms anyway. Like a 2-foot deep tank is probably my limit. 4-foot deep. Yeah, I've got one customer. Well, it's the same guy. He's got a 3-foot deep tank and a 4-foot deep tank. And to be fair, he does all the kind of work. He'll got like top off he goes, like holding his breath and stuff. And I just watch. Yeah. I'm just like, this is a nightmare. And it's an acro tank as well. So not only do they go, I want a really deep tank. You're like, right, that's problem number one. And I want acros in it. You're like, no. But
I mean, they can look amazing. I mean, Nick modelled his tank off a display that Duncan and I had in the last shop we worked in. It was 8 by 4 by 4, I think, or 8 by 4 by 3.5 or something. And that was SPS dominant, and it looked fantastic. But no, Duncan's got little short arms and couldn't reach the bottom. So if he ever dropped anything down there, it was
that was corals and reptiles, or
ocean corals and reptiles.
Yeah.
That tank was in its heyday. I visited it a couple of years ago. It kind of went downhill after Duncan left and all the rest of it, and it was really hot when I went there most recently. But the thickness of the acros, I think there was some stags. I can't remember it exactly, but the gonny was amazing. There was like a huge pink gonny. I think there was a really big elegance in it as well. But the acros were just they were like that thick.
They honestly, when Duncan and I were there, Duncan just grew acros for fun. They were coming out of his ears. It would be getting a bit big, and he'd say, okay, I have to do some fragging to cut some of this back. And he would take 10, 15, 20 frags of each colony. Yeah. And we'd stand back and look at it at the end and just be like, looks the same. Wow. It looks the same. But no, every time he dropped the clippers down or a frag fell to the bottom, it was me having to put my freakishly long arms in to reach them off the sandbed.
Just leave them there. I knew a guy with a 9-foot deep koi pond once, and there was like a step ladder in the bottom and stuff that had dropped in and he couldn't get it back out. So yeah. Duncan used to work at a company down in London who did a lot of big tanks, and maintain them for people. And Duncan went to one person's tank and he had to get a wetsuit on to get in it to sort things out. And he said he was in there one day killing Aptasia in his wetsuit with his snorkel. And this man's this tank had like there was
a shark. No,
there was no shark. No. But it was a big glass-fronted tank in the dining room, right? So it was in the wall, but very, very deep. And Duncan was in there in his wetsuit killing Aptasia. And this man's teenage daughter came home with all her friends, and they all went in the dining room and sat down and started drinking. Looked to the left, saw Duncan in his little wetsuit, couldn't stop laughing, and he said,
"Little wetsuit."
Wetsuit.
Making out Duncan's tiny. Do you know what I mean? Little Duncan, little wetsuit, short arms.
No, Duncan's the average height of a man
little
in the
Duncan.
UK. He likes to remind me. But no, he said that's the most embarrassed he's ever been.
I'm just thinking like mini Duncan.
Yeah, that's probably what the girls were thinking when they were looking at
Duncan.
Anyway. I'm going to jump back in. Sorry to cut in here. Evening, Chris. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're good, mate. Southeast Reefer has joined us as well. Happy Friday to you. And we've got Triggerfish in the house. Triggerfish 45. Thanks for joining us. Happy Friday. Hope you're good.
Evening.
I know a lot of people are talking amongst themselves. I think we are up to date. So we are 40 minutes in. Has anybody got anything to report? So Ron's got his new light. It looks amazing.
Tom, your tank behind you has a structure.
Yes, let's talk about that, Tom.
Let's not.
Let's talk about this.
Oh, dear.
How many people? I'm interested to know in the chat. How many people have successful tanks? I'm talking successful, corals growing, no algae, no nutrient problems, that have used secondhand rock.
Well,
Yeah. The question is, how many people used to own the very rock that Tom's now got in his? It's been passed around all around England because people buy it. They think, oh, it's great. It's a structure that like overhangs and it's only got one small foot. And then
I'm going to prove you wrong, Jeremy. Because
how much did you pay for it?
I'm going to put a shark in it.
Did you pay for it?
Yeah, how much did you pay for it?
Never you mind.
So crass. Oh, I can't believe you're calling his rock a whore. So it's been all over England. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it has.
Everyone's had it. It's been in and out of.
And they've tossed it out as well. They've tossed it out because they had problems with it. And Tom, host of the Reefers Network, has gone and bought it.
Because I'm going to prove a point with this rock. Watch.
You won't, mate. You will
How
not.
How much of the top of that rock is just dead skeletons?
Yeah, the whole thing's probably super glue.
Tom, you're taking this well, my man.
It's probably super glued shut. Every single pore of it is probably super glued shut, and that's probably a good thing.
Baby shark, baby shark. Anyway, yeah, I've got a rock skate behind me, and
hey,
rock skate.
Yeah, lick it.
I think you'd be better off with rocks from Blackpool.
Oh, Jeremy agrees.
That rock probably has been to Blackpool, just in someone's tank.
What will have been?
Can I ask a serious question? What's the problem with Tom's rock? Are you being serious?
Oh, you were. Oh, yeah. Ron's missed out on it.
Yeah.
So basically, I think I know that rock, right? So you know, people have got sixth senses for weird stuff, right?
Did you see that one time, Jeremy?
The second I saw that rock, and he hadn't even admitted me into like the live stream thing, I knew I've seen that rock before.
It's got a pass.
Probably more than one.
Nope, because it's handmade.
It looks like the aqua roach stuff.
Nope.
No, it's not. It's not aqua roach. No,
it looks way more knobbly.
If it was aqua roche, he'd be okay. It's not aqua roche.
So what is it?
It's the same as the one I've got in the DT downstairs.
Okay, which is successful.
Yes.
Apparently, this piece of rock has been through like 3, 4, 5, who knows how many tanks, and nobody has managed to grow corals on it.
This is so bizarre.
Watch this. I like a challenge.
So it's like a horror movie. It's now jumped from host to host, and it's now in Tom's tank.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem with rock is it never forgets. It's like a sponge. So one person at some point puts something awful in their tank, like
that's something off Indiana Jones. This
rock never forgets.
Crypt. Tales from the Crypt.
It's enriched uranium. It's got a half-life of 10,000 years. Like, and it's sat, but you won't get algae because cyano won't grow on that. Nothing will grow on it.
Tom, this sounds like a challenge, Tom.
Oh, I love a challenge, Ron. And the best thing about it is everything's going to be in front of the camera. There's no hiding. It's there. So I'm more than happy to share. I'm more than happy to share my experience with the rock.
You're hiding half of it now. Move out of the way. Let's have a look at it. I do like it. I liked it when I saw it 5 years ago.
Backpedal, Jeremy.
It looks that thing out of is it like Star Wars, Star Trek? That like
No, it is Star Wars.
Correct.
And everybody, to be fair, I put it in the group chat the other day because I'll be honest, I was 50-50. I was like, I spoke to a few people and everybody just went, hate it. Do not like it. Looks like a Starship Destroyer off Star Wars. Don't buy it.
You did a poll, didn't you, Tom?
And I did a poll, and everybody said it looked terrible. And then I got told it looked like Aladdin's lamp. It looked like an iron.
It does look like an iron.
and I said, I showed it, Kaz. I showed it with her after. I was like, everybody's taking mick at me about that. She was like, if you like it, buy it. And I was like, I just think it's going to be something different. And to be fair, obviously, I was only looking at it from pictures, and I went and got it yesterday. And I really like it. It's just different. Right? Yes, that looks like just like this.
That was it the first time.
Yeah, come on then, Jeremy.
That was in 1980. Let's have a look.
Yeah. So professionals couldn't make it work.
and they threw thousands at it, tens of thousands of pounds, soaking it, drying it, soaking it, drying it. Nothing worked. Nothing.
Did they ring the Ghostbusters in the end?
No, they kicked it out of the tank.
Yeah, maybe you should try like burning a bit of sage on it or something.
Yes.
What is going on?
There it is again with a little rock next to it.
It's friends.
Again, bare. So both times that rock was bare. Yeah. Let's find it
all right,
again.
all right. Come on. Have I done something to upset you, Jeremy, in an earlier life that I didn't know?
Don't mention sharks, Tom.
Oh, okay. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, so thanks for pointing out the structure behind my head.
I'm excited to see what you do with it. And how far away from it getting wet are you? Do you think this weekend?
No, because I am waiting on my Stratton. And I said Straton.
But you don't need. No, you've already got one of them. No, but you don't need a light to get it wet. Come on.
No, I want to strengthen the ceiling before I screw it on.
Strengthen the ceiling.
Yeah,
it's not made out of gold.
How heavy?
No, I want to put a piece of timber above it.
Sorry.
Why?
Do you know which size of Stratton he's gone for, Sapphire? He's gone for the sunbed Stratton, the absolute monster model.
What does that weigh?
8 kilograms.
Is that it?
I don't think you need to be strengthening your ceiling for that.
Well, I want to put a piece of timber across.
You've got timber across.
You've got joists. Have you seen people with chandeliers screwed into a piece of
I have got joists.
Ceiling?
I don't know where I have got joists, but I don't know where the joists are. I don't start just knocking holes everywhere in my ceiling, do I?
No, you just go tip tap 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 with your fingers.
What, and make that noise while I'm doing it? Tap 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 tap.
In Sapphire, they got somebody in to put her lights up.
I did it. I did
yeah.
the tip tapping on the ceiling actually. But
stick it in there. There we go.
In the end, I actually couldn't find the joist, and then I called my boyfriend. Called my boyfriend's dad, who's a builder, and I said, I can't find the joist. Can I hang? I've got 6 kilos hanging off mine. I said, can I hang 6 kilos off it? And he went, yeah, you don't need to put it in a joist for that. And I said, well, I've got some plugs. Should I use them? And he went, yeah, you can, but I mean, I wouldn't even bother using plugs. So
yeah, it's not a lot.
I don't think you need to be putting a bit of ugly timber in your ceiling.
Mine are just roll plugs, Tom, straight into the ceiling.
Yeah, so are mine. Yeah. Well, and a little plugs. Yeah, look, no. Beautiful.
Nice.
It was, when I saw it at Aqua H, when Steve had got it on the show, it was rather heavy, though. Compared to a Radion.
It is really heavy.
Compared to a Radion, yes. Yeah.
So, you don't need your light to get it wet, Tom. So, next excuse for not pumping that thing full of water this weekend?
But how are you going to stand above the tank to drill the light into the ceiling?
Just put a bit of wood over it. That's what I did. I just put a bit of wood over the top of mine.
Yeah.
No wonder. Do you know what, Ron? No wonder 2 of your tanks are popped.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, good point. Good point.
Don't sell Red Sea.
I want to soak the rock. To be fair, I'm going to soak the rock in RO for a bit.
Soak it in the tank.
And let me guess, and Marmite and Bisto gravy and whatever else, Jeremy and Sapphire think I should soak it in to get rid of the gulls and the ghosts and the nasties.
I think it was sage. Yeah, and you might have to organise an exorcism.
It's sounding more like an actual soup rather than the BRS soup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair
Minestrone.
So anyway, so back to me for a minute, if you don't mind, if you got bored of bullying me, because there's no more onion jokes or app jokes and whatever else.
You are a pair of scumbags. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, rock. Light's been ordered, and that's about it, really. In my week, nothing else to shout about. I'm afraid. No.
I got my first KH keeper for my actual.
We're not interested, Sapphire. Sorry.
No, I am. I was listening to that.
Well, there's a surprise. Jeremy's interested.
Jeremy's interested in what I have to say, because I told Jeremy that, and this is true. When I was 10 for Christmas, I was given one of his books, and it was the first book I ever had about fish. It was called My Perfect Aquarium, and I've still got it. I've got a few others now as well. But yeah, as a child, I was given them as gifts.
I thought you were going to stop when you said it was the first book you ever had. I thought that's how you learned to read.
I couldn't read before then.
Yeah, little lift up pictures.
Yeah.
Jeremy. Although unfortunately, Jeremy did throw me off piste a little bit because I did end up focusing heavily on freshwater for many years.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Freshwater is a very good foundation to have. I started with freshwater, and I still love freshwater.
I mean, I was very into like high-tech planted aquariums, which I'd argue are harder than reef tanks. So
I totally agree.
Yeah, there's no science behind them. People don't really understand them yet. With reefing, you can look up journals and papers, and loads of money's been thrown at it, but it's not the same with planted tanks. So it's a bit of hit and miss. Also, plants melt in about 1 second if you get it wrong.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I remember when the EI came in, estimative index, and everyone was raving about it, and I was like, why does it have to be estimative? Why can't you just ICP test, work out what the plants need, and give them the exact dose? But it turns out that you can luxury dose plants. You can put way too much of everything in, and they'll just kind of pluck it out of the water. Unlike a reef tank, because I've tried that as well, where you just like chuck everything in, and they're like, I'm burning. So,
they're like, my eyes.
Yeah. It doesn't work.
No, but I'm glad I moved to the dark side of reefing. And you know, loads of people, I would say, people in the comments can agree or disagree on this. Most people who have really good reef tanks now did have freshwater tanks. I mean, very few people jump straight into reefing, and we get it all the time in the shop. People say, I've got a freshwater tank, I've had it for ages, but I really want to try reef tanks. And I say, come to the dark side. But you know, you got to learn somewhere. It's a lot of the same foundation principles.
It is, and I think fish health is pretty much universal. So at least from freshwater, you learn, you know, if a fish is unhappy, if it's gasping, if its fins are clamped, if it's got white spots on it, you know, all of these things transfer to marines, because marine fish can be a nightmare. And that for me is like the ultimate marine keeper is one that is really not just a coral expert, but really into saltwater fish health. They're the people I really respect. We're just finding out so much about, you know, just diseases and everything, really. Nutrition. We're tip of the iceberg. There are so many fish that are still super tricky, like some butterfly fish. We're nowhere near giving them what they want yet. So yeah, fish health for me. Yeah,
I mean, and this you know, brings us neatly onto all this captive breeding that's happening at the moment, which I absolutely love. And I've seen they're not out yet, but Biota have been working on captive bred copper bands, which I'm really excited for. Because captive bred fish are just so resilient, and a lot of the problems with hard to keep fish is the fact that they've spent their life on the reef and they've developed a taste for something they can find there. Is it in your fish tank? Maybe it's not. Maybe it'll die. And I hate that. And copper bands are such a useful fish, but they're so hard to keep. I'll always remember the first ever tank bred mandarins I got. And I'd bought them from TMC that day, and I'd been over to Manchester. I'd driven back to the shop. I'm starting to unbox stuff and get it dripping and all this stuff. And, you know, people are always like looking around the buckets and seeing what's in there. And I pull out this mandarin, and somebody goes, that is absolutely tiny. It's honestly about this size, this fish. And I said, oh, it's tank bred, that's why. And he went, does that mean it eats pellets? And I was like, well, probably eventually. So I dripped the fish, and then I put it in the tank. And he went, all right, throw some pellets in. And I said, I've literally just released this out of my net, but okay, threw some pellets in, just ate about 6 of them in one go. And I was like, I'm sold.
That's amazing.
Buy them all. Wow. Yeah.
I went to De Jong recently, Sapphire. And have you ever been?
Man.
Have you ever been to De Jong?
I haven't, but I've heard they've got some bandit angels at the moment.
Oh my God, right. I've been there a few times over the past 15 years or so, and it used to just be like the Dutch TMC. You'd go there and it would be like TMC. Now they're triple the size, and one whole building is for fish breeding. And they've got 150 species. They bred 78 of them. It's completely state of the art. It was like biohazard suits, everything. And it is,
there you go.
It is Well, that's the coral bit, but it is unbelievable what they're doing. Like Ventralis anthias, right? The fattest Ventralis I've ever seen in my life. They're spawning them. Pairs of Moorish idols that look like they've just and they're going. They've already spawned Moorish idols. As soon as they crack Moorish idols, how much is that going to change the hobby? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so much. I mean, well, it's not going to change it much in the UK because you can't really import from De Jong anymore.
Yeah. I think that the likes of TMC will probably buy them from them because it will be that much of a game changer.
Yeah, but the cost they will be is going to be high. But I mean, I often say to people, if you are really set on keeping something difficult, you know, if you really want a copper band or a mandarin or some really finicky anthias, how many are you going to get through until you get to one that sticks? You know, if that fish is 2 or 3 times more expensive, you probably will spend that on wild ones anyway. So you may as well save yourself the heartache and just go for the more expensive stuff that's going to last.
The only thing that's ever made me completely win with a copper band is actually transferring one fish between 2 or 3 systems. So I have Aptasia in all of my systems and I just transfer them. That's roughly every 2 months. I'll do it. He's absolutely thriving and he swims into my hand.
Aptasia is a massive lifeline for copper bands, I think, and it's when they run out that most. Do they not? I've always had them eat it, always.
No, I'd say maybe 15% of the ones I've seen don't touch it.
I've had a few that have not been interested at all. They'll eat mysis until the cows come home, but won't touch Aptasia.
Yeah.
I'm putting together a bit of a kind of a life's work kind of master file on copper bands because everyone who's successful with them, and that's not many people, I just drain them for information on what they did it. So some of them swear by feeding mastic and they put mastic inside a bit of pipe so it can get its nose in. Others say it's about stress from things like surgeonfish. Basically, they don't do very well in boisterous tanks. They don't like competing for food. Others say that they just don't like taking food out of the water column. They're not adapted to do it, so they've got to be able to peck it a bit like the mastic thing. What else was it? There's loads of different theories.
I've got my copper band's quite big. I've had him for about 4 or 5 years now, Clive, and I had him in an 8-foot tank in the garage, and it only had 4 fish in it, as well as him.
Yeah,
and the other fish sort of brought him on to feeding meaty food, frozen food.
Yeah.
A bit weird. I fed in the same corner, which I'm always a big advocate of trying to feed in the same areas, so you get fish, you know, sort of used to certain things and habits, and that was one for him. And they had a jade wrasse, a gold rim tang, and a sailfin, and the copper band. That was all I had in the tank.
Yeah,
8-foot tank, 8x2x2, and he randomly just decided to follow what everybody else was doing and started eating it. And he's just got a hunger for it early on, and he's. Anybody in the comments that's seen him knows he's one of the, you know, he's a very healthy and big copper band. And he, other than that, he just goes around during the day. Flow doesn't affect him, and he just goes around just literally picking off whatever he can find on rocks. I've had Aptasia on pipework before, and he just he's not interested. But then every now and again, I put a frag in that has got maybe a bit of Aptasia on it, and he'll smash it straight away. So I think it's based on. I can't say this from the most healthiest adult on the planet, but you know, not everybody goes to the green sprouts straight away. They probably want the meat and potatoes sometimes. Do you know what I mean? If he's on offer, so
yeah. I mean, but sometimes you know you can have amazingly healthy fish like copper bands and mandarins that you've had for years and just decide to stop eating. I mean, I had a mandarin, and I'd had it for 3 or 4 years. This is pre the days of captive bred mandarins. It's wild caught, and I got it onto pellet and flake, and it ate frozen. You know, it ate whatever food went into the tank. Essentially, it was brilliant fish. Had it for 4 years. One day, refuses to eat anymore. Won't even touch live. Nothing. You know, dead 3 days later. And you can never really predict stuff like this. But no, they are. I love captive bred fish. I'm very very pro captive breeding. I've got a captive bred yellow, and it's my favourite fish in the tank.
Yellow tang.
Jeremy, we're going to cover your news in a second for the
chuck it on. Yeah? Chuck it on.
There's a couple of people I'm just going to say hello to that have made the effort again to come in a little bit later than normal, but thanks for making the effort, and happy Friday to you. So we've got, where are we? Timothy. Evening, Tim. Hope you're good, mate. He came round and gave me, you know, when you've got one of those mates that comes around to your house, and rather than say, oh, everything looks great, which 90% of your other mates do, he came around and was like, yeah, but your flow's not as good as it could be, and this isn't quite as good as it. And so rather than kicking him out, which I was tempted to, I must admit, no, I'm joking, Tim. After several cups of tea and coffee or whatever else we had, and he was here for 3 hours, we played around with all the power heads on the tank. We wrote them down, we numbered them all on a notepad, and it didn't leave until about whatever time it was. But yeah, the tank was boiling again, and the acros and everything looked a lot better. So fair play. Sometimes you just need that other person to come in and go, come on, stop being lazy, pull your finger out. And
has he seen your new scape, Tom?
He probably won't. He probably won't. Yeah. Anyway, Alex, happy Friday to you, buddy. Hope you're good.
Hi, Alex.
Hope you're good, mate. Nice to see you in the chat again. Nice to have you back on here. And I think we are ready for the news, Jeremy. If you're all right with that, let's have a look. Yes, I think we're ready. So, Jeremy has put us together a couple of minutes of a snippet in terms of reefing news from your new website, channel, podcast. Yeah, no, going to be doing that? Maybe?
Yeah.
Yes, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, reef keeping news. So, for everybody in the audience and us to have a quick toilet break, here you go.
Welcome to Reef Keeping News. I'm Jeremy Gay. In the news this week. Antibiotic use. OWATA has launched a new guide outlining the law around antibiotic use when it comes to treating fish, corals and other invertebrates. The guide is important on 2 counts. Firstly, the growing concerns for both human and animal health when it comes to combating antimicrobial resistance, and secondly, the fact that the use of antibiotics like Cipro for treating brown jelly disease is actually illegal in the UK without a vet's prescription. At best, continued use of antibiotics on corals will see them ceasing to work, and at worst, you could get prosecuted for doing it. Aussie corals. 6 more Australian hard corals have been added to the banned list in mainland Europe. Europeans can now no longer import Aussie acans, Turbinaria, Cyphastria, Heliofungia, Pectinia or Moselea, with acans being the biggest loss to their industry. The UK is already affected by a separate ban on most corals from the Great Barrier Reef. Water Bista is closing after 30 years. Water Bista is a well-known aquatic store that, although not a marine specialist, it was a marine stockist. It was also one of the busiest aquatic stores in the country in its heyday. It closes this month with 20% off everything right now. Reef Passion is also closing. Marine-only store Reef Passion in Tavistock, Devon is closing its doors after 3 years. It's thanked its customers for their support over that time, but is blaming rising costs as the reason for its closure. It closes just before Christmas. Tunzi 6075. Tunzi has launched a new wave pump called the 6075. It's a DC controllable pump with cloud control and manual wired control and has a maximum output of 7,500 litres per hour. It runs on a maximum of 8 watts, however, meaning it produces nearly 1,000 litres per hour per watt of electricity. It has an RRP of £275, but it does also come with a 5-year guarantee. And there's a new Chromis species. A new species of damselfish has been described from the Maldives. Chromis abada lives 100 metres down and is similar to Chromis woodseye. Chromis are the only damselfish genus to be found below 80 metres and is also the most species rich at 78 valid species. That's it from me this week on Reef Keeping News. Please follow me at Reef Keeping News on all the socials or visit reefkeepingnews.com.
Way! Oh,
The news.
the news with Jeremy. Thanks, mate. That was great. Top effort.
Cheers.
Looking good. No, really good,
Funny.
mate. I hope everybody watching, I hope everybody listening and watching in the comments appreciate that as well, mate. Thanks for the effort of that.
No worries.
That Tunzi, interesting. She sent me another video on that. So, when do you think we'll be able to get hold of them?
Sapphire, do you know?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I would say shortly. That one I videoed in Holland. I think it's ready now. I think I can find out. Yeah.
Because you sent me this one. Turn the volume down.
Yeah, so this is their latest generation. It's got app control, or rather through the cloud. Very open cage, as you might expect, wide front, new controller. It's kind of MP10 money almost, but it's got a 5-year warranty, and it is quiet. It does stick out quite a bit, as you can see, but it's got the kind of ball mount that you get with Tunzi. So yeah, it's another wave maker.
5-year warranty.
Another wave maker.
Sorry.
What thickness glass will it stick on?
I believe I've written it somewhere. I believe it's 12 or 15. I'll check it for you now.
Because MP10s, their main downfall for me is the fact they'll only stick on 9.5 mil glass when most things are 12.
Yeah,
let me find out.
And if your tank is, has glass under 9.5 mil, an MP10 is probably a bit much.
And do you know that? Sorry, Ron. Go on.
No, you go.
No, you go. Go on.
I find Tunzi turboils one of the ugliest things in the hobby. However, I have them on every single system.
Do you?
Yeah.
In my sumps.
I've just looked it up. 15 mil thick glass. Pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And those magnets are fully sealed and can be completely submerged in water.
Yeah, I mean, so can Neros though. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Neros. I've always run them on my tanks at home, and you can fully submerge their magnets as well.
The thing that really freaks me out about 5-year warranties, this is brilliant. You buy this pump in January with a 5-year warranty, you're good until 2030. I mean, we're going to be flying spaceships by then. Do you know what I mean? And that pump is still going to be covered.
And I'll not have any acros on that.
No, it'll look like that. It will look exactly like that in 5 years' time.
In somebody else's tank.
Correct.
In somebody else's tank. No. In somebody else's tank.
Yeah.
I might have it by then, Tom. I might have it by then.
Yeah, what we should do is every Christmas when we do Secret Santa, we should just pass it on to somebody.
Everyone takes a turn. Someone you really hate. Try this.
I reckon in about a year's time, that rock's going to be in a Malawi cichlid tank somewhere, like an Aqua One Malawi cichlid tank.
Behave, Jeremy.
Even the cichlids won't even be touching it. The cichlids will be like in the corners, just going, "I'm not eating that. I am not eating it."
No, well, you've put the curseness of this rock on the internet now, so you probably ruined its resale value.
Yeah, I'm having a Lego tank now. Thanks, John. Yeah, totally agree with you. Totally agree with you, mate. Totally agree. So, Sapphire, you want to talk about? You sent me some stuff in. You want to talk about jobs that you?
Jobs you hate doing.
We're going to say hate. We're going to say the H word. Okay.
I'm going to say the hate word. Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
get it out.
I know this is a hobby, and we all get loads from it, and it's great. And fish and corals are amazing, and nurturing it all is great. But there must be jobs that everyone absolutely dreads doing.
Yes.
There are some jobs that they just suck. I'm sorry. And when you're working with shop systems as well, you run things a bit differently. So we've got big 5-foot coral trays, and they're bare bottomed, and there's loads of flow in there, loads of stuff. We keep loads of inverts in there, and they get scabby. And I don't like coralline growing on the bottom or the backs of the tank or anything like that. So every so often, you've got to take all the corals out, put them somewhere safe. You've got to take the egg crate out, jet wash it, get all the coralline off, scrub the tank, do a huge water change. It takes hours, and that's a job I hate doing. Cable management, Amanda.
Yeah.
Yes, I've just seen some of these. So please drop it in the comments what everybody else is thinking right now. Because Sapphire, you've given me a few pictures. So
cable management sucks. If you could see under that, you'd have a heart attack. Honestly, sometimes people come into the shop and they say, "Oh, what does your tank look like at home? Have you done your cables all neatly? I bet you have." And I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
Right, so what's this then? Talk to us through this.
Yeah, so
obvious, but...
obviously as well, this is when doing things in a shop are different. We deal with stuff en masse. So another job I had to do this week, which I hate doing, is sorting out the invert delivery. We import all our inverts just because it keeps it a bit cheaper for the customer. But we buy them in like a box of 1,000 things, and most things are wrapped, like no more than 5 things to a bag. So that's one level of the poly box. There's 6 levels to it, I think. So you've got to cut open all of them, get all these snails out, sort them into the appropriate species, drip them all, get them in all the tanks. That's me throwing a load of snails in one. That is a massive tank, by the way. Don't worry, they'll have lots of things to eat in there. But yeah, that's a job that I really hate. The job is so hated in our shop that me and Duncan actually take it in turns. So if it's not your turn, it's not your problem. You can go home.
That would make a really interesting raffle, wouldn't it? If you painted numbers on the back of all those snail shells and just pulled a winner out randomly, that'd make it a bit more entertaining, maybe.
It would be entertaining because we keep most of our snails in the coral trays because there's stuff for them to eat in there. We've got an invert system, but you chuck a load of snails in them and they're instantly they're instantly gonna die. But in the coral trays, they have stuff to eat. So I've forgotten where I'm going because I was distracted by my own cat.
Can we meet the cat, Tom? Tom, can we meet the cat?
Of course, we can meet the cat. What's the cat called?
This cat is called Pigeon. He's not a fish.
He's gorgeous. Hey,
he likes the fish tank. He's upset because I'm sat in his armchair.
Oh, right, okay.
But no, Pigeon and I's routine is I come home from work, feed my fish, he sits in my arms and he watches them while they're eating their dinner.
I need an explanation over the name, though, please. Pigeon, obviously bird, and cat would not normally mix. What's the relation?
Cats should have stupid names.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
That's the relation, yeah.
Okay.
But no, we chuck all these in. But I bet there are some snails in those coral tanks that have been there since we opened. I bet there's one that's never been caught.
I like that. That's like natural selection.
I always say to people, right, if you're getting, say you're getting a group of chromis in a shop, and there are 10 chromis left in their sales tank, and you say, I'll take all 10 of them, you are buying the 10 quickest chromis.
I like it.
If you go into a shop and there's a tank of 50 chromis, and you say, I'll take 10, you are picking the 10 slowest chromis.
True.
You know, the last fish are the smartest fish.
Just out of curiosity, how many snails do you think I'm going to need for this?
Well, it's not going to grow a lot of algae, is it?
No. It's irrelevant, Tom.
Yeah, all right. Okay. All right. Okay. So,
Bernadette has an interesting question.
I was going to about to show that here for Jeremy.
Yeah.
Oh, look, Jeremy's update. We got
Bernadette.
Hi, Bernadette. Yeah, I do. As a famous fish vet, right? So there are thousands, if not tens of thousands, of vets in the UK, practicing vets, qualified vets. There are very few who ever done much to do with fish. There was a guy who told me that, you know, over a 3 or 5 year veterinarian course or whatever it is, the amount that you did on fish was tiny. But there is a famous guy called William Wild Goose, who's down south, who is a fish vet. He's one of about 3. I think the OATA website lists vets.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
There's more than 3. There's probably 15 on the OATA website.
Okay, that's cool.
Who were accredited for fish.
So that's where you should go. Yeah. OATA website, and you'll find a fish vet there. That's your best bet.
William Wild Goose.
Correct.
Is this a joke?
Nope.
Is his last name Chase?
Nope.
He's actually the father of my cat Pigeon.
Pigeon's dad. Pigeon Wild Goose.
Well, this is
This is just taking it.
Yeah, I got it.
Is that? Did he have the rock before the person that I bought the rock from? Or Kraken? Anyway, okay. For anybody that's watching, Bernadette is Ron's other half, correct?
I mean, I'll be totally honest. I don't have a fucking clue. It could be her. She's not in the room with me, but is it you, Bernadette? Do you want to come through and...
She's just randomly created a profile under Bernadette, and Ron doesn't have a clue whether it's his missus or not.
She watches every live stream, by the way, not just ones that I'm on. She watches them all.
It's definitely your missus then, definitely.
And she's not even remotely interested in reefing, so go figure.
Well, thanks, Bernadette, if it is. Thank you. Okay. So shout out to a few more people. NSB Reefs, good evening to you. I named my cat El Chapo.
What a wicked name. Love it.
Oh, yes, it's me.
Ah, right.
Hold on, that doesn't prove a thing. She's not walked in here. It could be.
Hi, Bernadette. Hi, Bernadette.
Walker.
It's Bernadette.
I bet it's Dave.
Do you need a fish vet, Ron?
Me?
Pardon?
No.
Yeah, she said, I thought we tried the water website for a fish vet.
Yeah, we did.
Too late.
No, we did. We didn't need one. It's just out of interest. It's really interesting to hear somebody actually say they know about a fish vet. Because if I walked into my local vets with a fish, they would go, "Do you want to just put it down the toilet now?" Or
Yeah. We've got one up near our shop that we use. We don't use antibiotics, but it is good to have a vet on hand. But also, all pet shops now, as part of their licensing, at least in North Yorkshire where we are, have to have all their procedures signed off by a vet. So we've got one to sign off all the procedures that we have in the shop for in case of XYZ scenario. So you need somebody who understands fish to be able to actually say, yes, this sounds like legitimate practice. Otherwise, the council will come after you.
yeah. So we didn't need a fish vet. I was trying to source drugs to get rid of parasitic copepods. I eventually got my hands on them. Won't say where. But we contacted Iwata and were basically told to take a hike. So
You should we talk about the antibiotics thing? It's quite important.
yeah.
Yeah.
So lots of people use antibiotics in reefing, not so many in freshwater. Some koi people use them. The long and the short of it is you can only get it from a vet. And then it circles back to not many vets know about fish, even fewer vets know about corals. And it is an animal, so it's still covered by a vet, but you can't prophylactically buy antibiotics. So you can't say, can I have some Cipro, please, doctor?
In case.
For something that may happen, correct? Yeah. And if it was
Sorry to butt in, Jeremy, you've done an article on this, haven't you? Sorry, just for your on the Reef News channel.
So just to clear this up, I wasn't looking for antibiotics. I was looking for dog dewormer.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I still got the door slammed in my face by Iwata, and every vet I contacted basically said, off you go. Now, I got a whole load of articles from the internet, validated them, all the rest of it. I sent them all in emails, documents, all the rest of it, and everyone just basically just went, well, no, we're not going to help you.
Have you got a dog?
Yes, I do.
You can get them then.
I think the problem is
the only ones I could get are palatable tablets with beef flavouring, which I'm not putting in my reef tank.
Try it.
Beef is just like Land's sharks, isn't it?
I did get told that the chances are I could use it. So it was milbemycin oxime with praziquantel I was looking for, and we really, really tried, and I went face to face with our local vets and basically just get told, no, you can't have that many tablets. You only have one dog, blah, blah, blah. No.
You can get Prazi. Prazi is cleared by the VMD. And in the UK, all medications need to state what's in them. So what I do is I just look on the backs of bottles of things, mainly wormers, fish fluke treatments, even koi treatments. And I find things like Prazi, flubendazole, stuff like that, because they're both passed. But yeah, you came up against you wanted dog wormers, but not for a dog. So
tablets
they said no.
just pure in the pure form that you just dilute with boiling RO water, tip it into the tank, all the rest. But I mean, we sell koi and goldfish and things. We have an outdoor aquatics area at the garden centre, and it's just we're in the water. We have our pet shop license, all the rest of it. And everywhere we tried, nope, not interested.
Yeah,
and
I'll send you the link on the Iwata website. It exists. I read it recently.
And just to clear up, the drugs that I did eventually source completely and utterly worked.
What were they?
It was milbemycin oxime with praziquantel dog tablets.
I haven't heard of that. And what was that for? What was it treating?
Parasitic copepods.
Yeah, you use those as well to treat. Is it bread bugs?
Yes.
Yeah.
We reckon it was Altutholopsis coriolanus was the actual species, but
Yeah.
Is that worm an antibiotic or not?
No.
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 Right. Okay.
No. There's also some interesting women's treatments you can buy, which can be used in reef tanks for various algae.
Yeah.
I also found in the UK you can get a very low dose of ivermectin through something that people use to treat pigeons in the UK.
What?
And you can buy it on Amazon.
Ron, you and Rob have got far too much time on your hands. I've just realised. Like,
For what?
where would for researching this stuff? Jesus, man! Wow.
Oh, when you've got hundreds, if not thousands, of corals, and you know you've got this pest in the tank, you're going to do anything you can to help.
Yeah,
the
no, I
animal.
get it. I get it.
Within the law.
Wow.
Yes.
Within the law.
Yes.
But no, Awata does have a list of fish vets by county on their website somewhere.
Cool.
Wow.
So
And
interesting.
most, the ones I have spoken to have always been very willing to help.
Cool.
Wow.
I get told to go to my local vet, and they said, "F off."
It's a funny one. Like I've been in aquatics for years, and if you think about what we do versus if your cat or dog gets ill, you take it to a vet. If your fish gets ill, you go to an aquatic shop, and anyone prescribes things. They say, "I know what that is. That's dropsy. Here's a medicine for it." And we're the only profession or hobby that does that. Do you know? Don't you think that's weird?
Yeah.
I do think it's weird. And do you know what as well? I mean, in some big chain pet shops, you have people who work there who are not vets or veterinary technicians at all. They are merely people who work in the shop who can get the license to prescribe veterinary grade, not, pain medicines and things, but wormers and flea treatments for animals. So it would make sense to have accredited fish shops where you can say, yes, we've got a microscope in our shop. I use it, I would say, multiple times a week. And whether I'm looking at algae or somebody's had a fish die randomly, and so you'll take a scraping of it, have a look under the microscope, see exactly what it is. And I can say, yep, I can say with 100% certainty that is covered in white spot or that's got Brooke. And it's well known in our area that we've got a microscope. So other shops will send people to us who will walk in with a little dead fish in a bag and say, can you please help me? And then they go, okay, so what do I do about the rest of the fish in my tank? And you go, well, you can take them out and put them in copper and hope for the best. And you can do a fallow period. But no, you cannot have any antibiotics, even though we know there are antibiotics out there that will treat fish for many, many common diseases.
Wow.
It's the dosage that always gets me. I remember we used to use, pig wormers for stuff, and I'd kind of stand there with this product in my hand thinking, this has been formulated for a pig or a horse. How do we know how much to treat an aquarium with?
Well, we share our car park with an equestrian supplier, and I just walked straight in there, and there is this huge tube of ivermectin wormer.
Yeah.
But of course, all the other stuff that's in it that makes it palatable. And I spoke to my friend in Australia who just said, I just put it in. I said, no, ivermectin's got a horrendous half-life as well.
Right.
A long time. It's super dangerous in comparison to praziquantel and milbemagene thing, which actually it's a matter of hours and it's gone. But ivermectin's not to be messed with.
No, a lot of the pig wormers that get used kind of leave the water column after about 2 days. You can tell because the glass goes all white. I work out dosages for stuff like that, either by asking our vet or my dad's an anaesthetist. So send him a picture of something at the strength, text him the water volume, and he will reply with a exact measure to the gram.
What's his number, Sapphire?
Wow, that's useful, isn't it? That's very useful.
It's very useful, yeah. Standby doctor, but also Duncan's business partner at the shop. His background actually is in veterinary science and farm animals and prescription medication. So we use his vets, and he knows all about pigs. So he deals with all of that.
Interesting.
It's just having people who are actually medically trained to help with stuff like that, really. And then you learn by default. But a lot of this stuff is not to be messed with by the average person, and legitimately really doesn't need doing a lot of the time.
Rob is saying that ivermectin has a 1,000,000-year half-life.
You won't see any worms for 1,000,000 years then, that's good. You'll kill all the worms on the planet.
Yeah, there's a couple of comments I'm just going to throw up here now, actually. Reef Kip is saying, did you guys see Reef Bum's last live stream? He talks about a food infused with fenbendazole that kills acropore eating flatworm.
Yeah. I'm about halfway through. It's over 5 hours.
5 hours, yes.
Mental.
Fenbendazole, is that allowed in the UK? It's probably an American one. I doubt it's allowed.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's allowed.
Yeah.
It's different in the States, obviously. We've got Americans on now, but antibiotics. You can do a lot of things in America that you can't do in the UK. And the availability of antibiotics, even though they say they're tightening up, America tightening up by antibiotics is not like the UK.
No, it's very, very strict.
I can buy Fenben capsules on eBay right now.
I bet you can.
Sorry, I was just texting the other half because I've just had a random text message from my missus, who's, like I said, been on a Christmas do since 4:30 this afternoon. And what I've got is, did I feed the dog?
Did you?
Just yes, but it's just nice to know that I'm all right. Anyway, back to the stream. Sorry, everybody.
So it looks like Fenben over here is mainly used in panicker, which is a dewormer.
Wormer.
Yeah, it's another wormer. Yeah, use it in rabbits and ferrets.
Yeah,
there is. So everything's regulated by the veterinary medicine director at the VMD, and in that article that I put up, there is a link to them. So with all these things, I mean, it's not going to hurt to just email them and say, one, is this allowed in the UK?
Yeah.
Two, what products is it in? It might actually help. They might say, no, it's not allowed. At least you'll get an answer. I would hope.
Yeah.
I think we've talked enough about drugs for a Friday night.
Yeah,
so far.
I was about to say
something else. Come on.
Talking about things sneaking into your tank.
Yes, Sapphire, on to you. So, I'm going to throw up what you sent me. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday. Thank you. So, talk me through what we're looking at. And are we going to get? Sorry, me retract. Are we going to get the audience to guess what we're looking at? That's what we agreed.
Yeah, I would like in the comments for people to say what they think this creature is. If anyone gets it right,
there's two actually on the same page.
Okay, all right.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
the one that everyone. Yeah, okay. The one that's the video. You're not allowed to play. No.
No. Okay.
If it's the one that's a video, if anyone gets it right, if you come to Yorkshire Reefs, I'll give you a frag.
Oh, wow!
Of my choosing.
Some crap she can't get rid of.
Some green coral. ESP. Oh, we've got some guesses here. Is it a pigeon? No.
It's not a pigeon.
It's not. Is it a pigeon?
By pigeon, do you mean a cat?
Has anyone else got any? Yeah, can the video play again? That's it next to a pen.
So just for Liam's Guild Aquarium, it's not a zoa spider, correct?
It's not a zoa spider, no.
Very big for a zoa spider.
Yeah, it is not a house spider that fell in.
Yeah, if I didn't know already, I'd have guessed some kind of terrestrial or freshwater invert that's fallen in.
Is it a Haribo?
Yes, it was. It was a little snack I was saving for later. The one on the left looks like a gonny worm. That's correct. Yeah, that is actually right, Lee. But
well done, Lee. Yeah,
good
well
answer.
Done, Lee, right?
Well
yeah,
done.
but I mean that wasn't the free frag one. I want to say.
Oh, you didn't stipulate that.
Oh, you don't get.
No, I said if it was the one that's the video.
Backtracking.
That one's a photo, quite clearly.
Okay.
Acro spider, no. Hammer spider. All right, should I tell everyone what it is?
Go on then.
Whoa.
You'd better be right as well, Sapphire.
Yeah, it was. What that is is it's a type of crab. And the end I'm poking it in is actually its face.
What?
Yup. So its legs go around to the back of it. It's a crab. And it's a kind of crab. It's a type of spider crab that is specialized to live on gorgonians.
Whoa.
Wow.
It came in on a gorgonian. It took me a good 45 minutes to find the species, which I've now forgotten the name of. But yeah, I love this little guy. I loved him so much. This was a few months ago I found him that I kept him in a little pico tank I've got.
He's moved in with you now?
Yeah, I've got a little pico tank, about 2 litres, little cube. It's got some gorgonians in it, and I put him in there.
Rob's comment is,
oh dear.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be its common name. I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah, it would. But yeah, no, the left one is a gonny worm. It's actually quite. I took a picture of it 'cause it's very cool. I mean, you can't really tell, but it's actually stripy and it's got blue legs, which I love.
Wow.
But yeah, I love all the little things you find in the shop, dipping stuff. I mean, I've seen loads of little baby bobbit worms come in as well. If anyone's ever read about bobbit worms,
I've read about them. Yeah, well,
horrendous.
I don't want one.
No.
No, David Saxby was telling me he's got one that lives in his tank.
Yeah, he thinks it's taking like whole coral colonies. It's that big.
Yeah, it's been eating his soft corals.
You know, like those cartoon kind of rabbits in veg patches, and the carrots like disappear. It's like that. Like a whole soft coral just like goes. It's gone.
Well, I bought a pair of blue throat triggers from Peter at Sea Store probably about 10 years ago for that 8-foot tank that I talked about earlier that had the copper banding when it was in my lounge, not when it was in the garage, and I kept it in my friend's cellar in Dorlav, and the Dorlav was flush to sort of 2 walls. There was no gap round it, and anyway, it was just full of live rock. This Dorlav and these blue throat triggers and a few other bits.
Live rock, Tom.
Yeah, I know. Live rock. Fancy that. And yeah, the short version is went to get the fish. There was only one fish. Couldn't find the other one. Emptied everything. Took all the live rock out. Couldn't find the fish. Couldn't find it down. There was no gap. I mean, it was literally a tiny gap in the corner. And there were big fish. Couldn't find it. Not jumped out. And about 6 months later, my mate rang me up. He said, that trigger that you lost. He said, yeah. I said, yeah. He said, I think I know where it went. And he'd got this big piece of live rock that he was sold to somebody, and he was carrying it, and they dropped it on the floor in his cell, and it split in half, and a bobbit worm came out of it about 1 meter long. So,
wow.
Yeah, I reckon that's where my triggerfish went.
They are
Who knows?
amazing animals. I mean, nightmare fuel, right? But they are amazing.
Yeah, they're really cute when they're small, to be honest. I mean,
no way.
Cute.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a bobbit worm in my life once. One coral I dipped one time because we dip everything on the shop when it comes in. Had a little bobbit worm in it, and it was probably that big. It was like 2 inches, and you could still see it. Every part of it had these prongs on the front. Yeah, 8 inches. It was so adorable. I felt really bad actually murdering it, but it had to be done.
Oh dear.
I draw the line at bobbits. I think I've seen 1 or 2 genuine ones in my time, but I've never seen a big one. I don't want to. But the other day, something on the internet which made me think is someone put a video up of what they reckoned a bobbit worm was burrowing into the silicon in their aquarium.
Did you see it? And it was coming forward. I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it made me think suddenly about all these tanks that are going. I just suddenly thought, what if it's a bobbit worm?
Yeah,
probably isn't.
Well, Saxby's tank at the moment is his second, third iteration, and one of the ones that went on the silicon, he said when they, it started going and they had it taken down. Once they got to emptying the tank, it was actually like a whole nest of bristleworms, big bristleworms burying into the silicon.
Wowzer.
Wow. Okay.
Silicon is not safe. No silicon is safe. We need to protect it.
Mm-hmm.
Can I check?
Well, if you have your skeleton on the outside.
Is anyone else's beer empty? Is it just me?
I haven't even got one on working tomorrow.
I actually had this one, but I had a second one queued ready.
I'm just trying to see if Bernadette's still watching. Let's see what happens.
No, you need to ting them together, Ron. You need to...
I'm gonna leave it like a cookie for Santa and see if it magically disappears. And here she comes.
Oh, Bernadette, you legend.
Yes, yes.
So, Sapphire, you were saying about jobs you didn't like. So you talked about the obviously the snails. Yeah. What other things do you are a bind? Because I have a feeling there's a few job applications going to be landing on Duncan's desk in the morning, maybe.
No. I hate changing the rolls on filter rollers.
Good call.
Except the Red Sea ones. I find them quite easy.
So much better than socks, though.
What?
Still
That's on my
better
list.
than
Yes. Filter socks, horrendous.
Yep.
I actually can't remember the last time I saw a filter sock.
Okay.
Good.
I don't think I've sold a customer a tank with filter socks for maybe 2 years now.
Okay.
It's not worth it.
You're right.
If you have, has anyone still got filter socks actually in their fish tank?
I have.
I think quite a few people still have.
In the garage, I have, yeah. Because I haven't got, because just how I've designed the garage tank. But anyway,
they're just nutrient reactors, aren't they? You just trap all the dirt in it, and then you just put loads of warm, bacteria-rich water through it constantly to release all those nutrients back into the water. It's perfect.
Yeah. And then you change them out and you drop your nutrients.
Yeah.
And then the next day, they're right up again.
And a filter sock is only ever good when it's brand new. And then after that, you'll never get those pores as clean as it was when it was new.
True. I agree with that. Yeah. One thing that always used to faze me with filter socks is that everybody used to have this conversation of, you can put them in the washing machine as long as you don't put any detergent in with them. And I'm thinking...
I've done it a million times.
So you're telling me that there's not a piece of detergent or whatever still in the washing machine from 3 washes before that isn't just going to randomly go, hello.
Yeah. But it doesn't even take the dirt out. I'll tell you the best thing that takes dirt out, a really powerful pressure washer. Take them outside.
Yeah.
Stand on one end of the sock and just blast it, and that's the best by far. Any other method, shower head, washing machine, I've done it all rubbish.
And that also ruins the sock as well, like you said about the pores and stuff like that. The pressure washer destroys it.
Yeah, once they're on the 6 month mark and you go over the pressure washer and then you just see it like peel in half.
Yes, roller filters, get rid of the socks.
Yeah.
Get rid of socks.
Get some Christmas.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars socks.
Is that the sock from under your bed, Tom?
There's two. There's not just one. Before anybody comments, there's 2.
You have been a busy boy.
I reckon Tom socks would do a better job at filtering water than a filter sock that's older than a week old.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when they overflow, they're noisy. This is why people get rusty hinges, right? You know, anything like skimmers overflowing, socks overflowing, any splashing in the sump, it's a disaster.
But it's just so noisy. I mean, I can't imagine sitting in my living room and just hearing like splishing water all the time.
I think one of the issues for me with filter socks is depending on how you've got your tank dialed in, is they can affect your salinity because your ATO can kick in falsely sometimes if your levels aren't right with your filter sock, causing it to back up.
Tom, can we have a quick poll with Sapphire and Jeremy whether they hate socks or your new rock more? I think Jeremy's ready.
So if I had a fish tank,
Jeremy?
If I had a fish tank, would I rather have that bit of rock or filter socks on it?
No, these socks on it. These ones. These Star Wars stormtroopers with Father Christmas hats on.
I'd rather have the Tom socks.
John, these socks are at the back of this drawer in this spare room. Yeah, and I've just found that I've got some Christmas socks in here, so it was just a bit well timed, should I say? But yeah, they are Star Wars Stormtrooper Christmas socks with Father Christmas hats on. There you go.
Who wins them?
Anyway. Oh, that's a good
Tom-
idea.
Tom
They are
Sawyer
they used.
on soiled socks.
Anyway,
The first thing I did when I bought this tank, which is a nice 4-foot water box, was get the sump in here and start chopping out panes of glass to get a roller in.
Yeah.
Before
It's gotta be done.
before I had even like thought about rock work or water or any of that, I was in here with like those Red Sea sump modification kits are really good. They have
Yeah.
really thin blades on that you can get
Yeah.
through silicon, and I just cut it to pieces.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I
I
think
think-
I think the tanks that are still coming with socks, the good ones are making them removable now. You know, the actual whole panel with the 4-inch holes in.
Yeah,
if you
we'll
take
just-
that out, yeah, that's a big advantage because I think like you guys, yeah.
Mm.
If it was fixed, that would really put me off. I was gifted a high-end acrylic sump, a Hamali one from Australia.
Oh, that's a bit posh.
Nice.
Right, I'll tell you now, it's rubbish. It's absolutely
Really?
rubbish. The design is terrible on it.
Why?
Right, so
Quite
in a sump,
animated, Tom.
in a sump, right? Where would you not put a heater in a sump?
Outside it.
Correct.
In the auto top-up chamber.
Yes.
or, come on.
In the return chamber.
Return pump.
Correct. That's where
Yeah.
they put them. That's where they put them. You're just like,
And you
that's
couldn't
really-
you couldn't change it.
no, on a £1,500 sump, and that's without the ATO, which is even more. No, that's where they put the heaters. It's only
Why?
got us exactly.
Is
It's
it
only
because they work? Is it because they work upside down in Australia?
exactly. The thinking is definitely upside down.
It's always too hot. Don't need heaters.
Yeah.
Afterthought.
Pelagic swimmer's right, the return section. Yeah, so it's not just me, that's common sense, and they've gone and put them there. Fixed sock chamber, like we just spoke about, 1,500 quid. I can't use a roller. I'd have to put it in chamber 2 and pump feed it, and that would just weird me out because then you've just got this sock. It's just
Yeah. I mean,
it's-
to be fair, on the whole, baffles in sumps are overrated.
correct.
You
Because-
do not need loads of baffles. There is no point. Get a box that's got a separate little return chamber and put everything else you want in the rest of it.
Yeah.
Other than catching bubbles, I totally agree. Yeah.
And every tank is different. If we all set up another tank tomorrow, it would be slightly different in our iteration. Some will put this or that in. So what I do, I'll just buy an aquarium, a freshwater aquarium made of glass, like an old clear seal one. And then I'll go to the glass people and I'll make my own baffles and I'll put them where I want and I'm done. That's it.
Yeah.
I think roller filters actually just make reefing easier right from the very start. I know some people say they take out good and bad and blah, 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 but solid win for me. I think it just makes the hobby a little bit easier. I'm all
Yeah.
for it.
I'm very upset at my roller filter at the moment.
Oh,
Which one are you running, Sal?
I've got in my tank at home, and on most of the shops in the tank, most of the tanks in the shop, we've got X filters, which are very, very nice, and I love that they do rolls in different microns. So I run a 9-micron roll on this tank, but the main problem that we're having with X filters at the moment is the company that makes the rolls in Europe has gone bust. So you
Really?
cannot get rolls for it.
Plus, Exodus doesn't distribute them anymore, I don't think.
No, because the company in Europe has just, I don't know, ghosted Exodus basically.
Right.
I've got a question. Do you believe that roll's really 9 microns?
No, I don't, but I do believe it is considerably smaller than other brands. And I'll tell you why. You can fit a Clarity roll on one of these. The tube is wrong, so it doesn't fit snug, but it's still working. It's the same principle. My nutrients have gone through the roof.
Well, controversially, we have Mo from Leicester, as we all joke about.
Are
now.
you
Shout out to
sure?
Leicester. We are sure. Who's saying that they are good, but my strips are too much now, so it's switched off.
Yeah.
Just one big skimmer for me.
Yeah.
I
Well,
happen to agree with that.
this was the beauty of the X filter rolls, though, because if it was stripping out too much, You got one of the higher micron rolls. Okay, was it really 32 microns? Who knows? But it was bigger and it let more through.
Well, you've got the microscope, Saf. What are you playing at?
Yeah, but I can't count.
You've got the snails. Just put the snails on the counter.
Before we move on from roller filters, see the fleece. We're talking about the fleece, right? If you go to a local garden centre and you buy frost protection fleece, which you wrap plants up for in the winter, they come in 1.5 meter rolls, 200 meters long. You can buy them for about £90. If you get somebody to cut that roll really nice and sharp with a really nice guillotine somewhere, you have got yourself probably 6 years worth of fleece for 90 quid.
But what if there's stuff on it?
Well, that's the risk you take.
I was just thinking I want to make a 6 foot wide roller filter with it.
Oh dear.
It'll need a motor, but yeah. Cool. No, top tip. I like it.
Well, I've not tried it yet. It's not a tip. It's just a come to my garden centre and buy all my fleece. Thank you.
Shall I tell you a story? Shall I tell you a story about a guy with a roller filter who I once knew? I don't know if he's still reefing or not.
Did he have to go to the doctor?
He should have gone to the doctor. He would wash his dirty roll and re-roll it.
I have heard people doing it. That's I wonder.
Wow.
That's a lot of trouble.
New rolls for most roller filters are about 12 quid.
Yeah.
Right? The minimum wage in the UK is what? 12.50 an hour?
11.44.
Right, 11.44. How many hours did that take him, and was he paying himself below minimum wage?
Yes, and I don't know how many hours, but yeah, it's things like that. Just brings me joy, you know. When
So
people
come on,
say stuff like that.
round the table then. So don't like changing filter roller. Yeah, Saf.
Yeah,
Jeremy?
I mean, I hate
Jeremy?
a lot of stuff.
What are we saying?
Carrying RO drums full of water. Hate it.
Why
Absolutely
are you doing that?
hate it.
You don't do your own then, no?
I
Why are
work
you
in a
doing
shop.
that?
I work in a shop on Saturdays. I do it hundreds of times.
Tell the customers to do it themselves.
Number one, you get a little trolley. Number two, carrying RO is why we've all probably got quite secretly muscly arms. It's good
and
for
bad
you.
backs, and really bad backs.
Bad backs.
Oh no, my back is great.
Mine's terrible. Yeah.
So carrying RO, anything else? Any other bugbears, pet hates of the hobby?
I had filter socks, so we're a match on
Filter
that.
socks. Okay, filter socks. Ronald, before we come to me.
Terrible humans. They're a bit about, they ruin the hobby for me a wee bit. Just stupid people hurting animals. Other than that, I think mine has to be cleaning frag racks on a large scale. Egg crate is. I mean, I do. I've got an amazing. Yeah, I've got an amazing system with citric acid soaps. I've got a great big vat that I have purely just for doing it. You still have to pressure wash one direction at a slight angle to clean in between. I am a wee bit anal about stuff, and things have to be quite clean, and I don't enjoy it. It's rubbish on scale. It's rubbish. If you've got a wee frag tank at home, you're doing it maybe once every 3-4 months, something like that. But on scale, ripping out 30-40 frag racks and having to clean them all. It's not.
But how satisfying is it afterwards, though?
Well, it depends. You've lost the will to live, Sapphire. The satisfaction just wanes a little.
I don't know. I did our shop ones this week. Full strip down, cleaning the racks, everything, and I was so excited. It sounds like I have such a sad life. I did a big water change afterwards, which I don't normally do, and I put some carbon in, and I thought, I can't wait to come in the morning and see how sparkly it looks. And I went into the shop this morning and I looked at it and I just thought, it's really nice. It's lovely and clean.
I agree. It's nice. Yeah. It's something that, well, we're talking about jobs we dread, basically. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I dread doing it and having to move hundreds of frags and get them back in the water as quick as you can. And it's just, it's not fun.
Do you want to know my top trick for moving hundreds of frags?
Go
little
on.
little plastic cups. You pick up all the frags of one type under the water, shove it in the cup, and then, I mean, we run 2 tanks off the same sump, and then I just have all these little cups of frags, just stack them all next to each other, so they can all, they're not stinging each other or rolling around or going anywhere. And then when you put them all back, you just boop, 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 boop.
So you just leave them in the water, though, in the cup?
Yeah, leave them in water in the cup in the other tank that's connected on the same system. And then I clean the first tank, move everything onto the other one, do the second one, and then put it all back where it belongs.
But you have to make that noise though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a piece of wet wall. Our bathrooms were getting done, so I've got a piece of wet wall, and it spans the full front to back of my frag system, and then hooks over the front and hooks over the back, and it slides along the tank. And I've made it exactly the same size as my frag rack. So I've got the frag rack in the tank, frag rack out the tank, and I just go boop, 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 in rows, all my frags, take the dirty one out, throw the clean one in. Done. And it all drips it back into the tank. So it's all.
I'm just going to jump into some of the comments that some of the viewers are mentioning here in terms of things they hate. Reef and Teeth, evening to you. Thanks for joining us. Cleaning the glass, especially the corners. Yes, couldn't agree more.
Cleaning the glass is a piece of piss.
It's the corners. I have to agree with him there because I'm always a bit like, do I go a little bit aggressive because the silicone? Got to be careful.
Go a bit aggressive.
Yeah.
I'll only clean the corners with a sponge. I won't go near it with a blade.
Yeah,
I'll use a toothbrush.
Toothbrush. That's what I use. I use the same one.
good.
Same one.
Yeah, I can tell.
Oh, here's a little thing. I got a cracking little set of brushes off of Amazon last week. Oxo Good Grips. I can't remember what they're called, and the bristles are red. But one of them's get really good angled bristles for corners, and it's really stiff.
Yeah. I mean, most dental stuff's good, isn't it? You can buy. I went into like a Wilkinson's or whatever before they went bust, and you could get like a toothbrush and a little mirror on a thing and a little like wire like pick, and they're all useful. Do you know what I mean? And it was like $1.99 or something. So
yeah, toothbrushes are the best thing for cleaning power heads. Soak them in citric acid, whip the power head out, give it a little scrub with a toothbrush. Looks brand new.
Yeah.
Are you talking about these, Ron? Those.
Bingo. And the smaller one, which has the angled bristles, has a little silicon blade at the bottom of it, which is amazing for going round the bottom of corals really gently.
Are they quite stiff bristles as well? Like stiffer than a toothbrush?
Yes.
Yeah, she's cleaning a tap with it in that picture.
Yeah, I like that.
She is rubbing.
Top tip.
Yeah,
Nice.
I got them last week, and see for the money, I think that's not bad.
We need a top.
I feel like
tip button.
I feel like in a shop you'd get through those. Like you get through one a day.
Mine's still going, and I had scrubbed a lot with it.
Gluing coral onto rock is a pet's hate for Lee.
Yes.
No. Glue milliput glue.
I did that.
I've glue what? Glue milliput glue.
Yeah. We call it a milliput sandwich.
Yeah, I'm glue. No, I'm milliput glue. Sorry.
Yeah, well that's the wrong way round. So the glue obviously is so sticky, but milliput can take the shape of a rock. So you put some glue on the base of the coral, and then you put a bit of milliput, and then you put a bit of glue. You press it on the rock. The milliput takes the form, and the glue sticks on.
Yes, agreed.
However,
I've been doing that. I've been doing that for years, and I did it the other day on some art reef rocks, and every coral just slid off like it was the best, most non-stick frying pan you've ever seen in your life. I couldn't believe it.
Coating.
Yeah. It must be. Or, well, it was smooth. You know the ones with the like little ledges that you buy in like kit form now?
Yeah.
And the ledges are actually smooth on top.
Yeah.
And just, like when Marco rocks, like really nice and like porous and like kind of dimpled. This is just smooth. And I'd hold them on there, and then the power head would blow, and I'd look, and my frags are gone. They're just blown off. So, and that was glue, epoxy glue, which I agree with Sapphire is the best way by far.
I agree too.
Rob's saying cleaning gyre pumps horrible to clean.
Yeah, they're rough.
I'd have to agree with you on that.
Yep.
They're
They are
really
not.
high maintenance. Really
They
high
are
maintenance.
Ball Lake. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, most power heads, if you really cannot be bothered to clean them, you leave them plugged in, you put them in a bucket with warm water and some easy clean, and you leave them overnight, and then you deal with it in
I
the
do.
morning.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's what I
just
do
let
in
it
my
run.
garden.
It'll kind of like clean itself in a way.
Yeah.
Another top tip. Love it.
A lot of tips.
Jim's asking if that toothbrush would work on that rock. No.
On that, not a chance. I said it was good. I didn't say it was like, do you know what I mean? Like super brush.
Oh, dear.
No.
Well, my pet hates are filling up my RO
Mm.
because I always leave the RO machine on and forget.
All
And
been
flood-
there.
And flood the garage and waste loads of RO. And my other one would have to be media reactors. I hate media reactors because I always find them difficult to empty, clean, replace.
Yeah.
Because you always put them in such a because you don't want them to take up too much of a footprint in your sump. Yeah. So you put them in the tightest spot possible, out of the way, which is probably the most inaccessible point in your tank or sump. And then you need to do something with it, whether it's clean the pump, which nobody ever does, because they all moan, "Oh, it's not tumbling enough." Well, yeah, but when was the last time you cleaned the impeller out of the pump? Oh, never. Well, but I can't get to it. And if I try and get to it, I'm gonna have to take it all out. I just think for me, reactors are a pet hate. So anyway.
I feel like reactors are somewhat being phased out at the moment.
Yeah, I think they are.
Yeah,
I do.
you
I
don't.
have to agree with
Not a
you.
lot of people run them anymore.
I've got 6 in my cupboard. I don't run one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got one in my shed.
Like a soda stream of the reefing.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I use my soda stream all the time.
There's always one.
I love it. Chris, he said he hates calibrating equipment.
Where are we? Let's have a look. Sorry.
Should we talk about your KH keeper? Is that what you said you got, Sapphire?
Oh yeah, I've got one for my tank at home for the first time ever. We've religiously run them in the shop for a long time, but I've finally got one for my. I've been testing my tank at home manually for forever, and the tank before that I had to test manually as well, which those days are gone.
You go steady, working girl.
Don't you find though that when you move to any kind of KH controller, you think your testing days are gone, and you just end up calibrating on a Sunday instead of testing?
Yeah,
I'll
because
tell
you
you
weigh
a little-
down.
I'll-
And measuring it and timing it and all that.
I'll tell you a little secret. Do I tell customers in the shop to calibrate their KH keepers? Yes, right. Reef Factory recommend you do it every 3 months. When was the last time we calibrated the KH keepers in the shop? I don't know, maybe once ever. Does everything look great? Yeah.
Ah, right. I was going to say, what's your KH? Do you know? But if everything's looking
yeah. Well, KH maybe is a bit of a myth now. You know, I don't know if anyone's done any Reefs Elements advanced ICPs, but KH comes back on that quite low. And we were speaking to Jose about it, and he was saying, well, actually, things like Salifert tend to overread by about 1.5. But then all the literature you read that talks about KH, what's that been based on? Has that been based on Salifert? And then you think, is KH real? What number is it really? I'm not sure, as long as it's remotely stable. So what is KH? Do you have an answer, Jeremy?
Is it not?
Waiting for. I was waiting.
I was just thinking of the obvious. I was just thinking, is the answer carbonate hardness, Sapphire?
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, but no, does anyone really know what their KH is? Maybe not. You know, I mean, look, if you put an automatic KH tester on there that tests out by 0.5 point every time, but then also if you were doing manual KH tests, you're doing a titration, right? So you're looking at a color change.
Yeah.
Everyone's eyes perceive color a little bit differently, but also men have less color receptors in their eyes than women. So
we know that, don't we, Tom? A Canadian told us that, didn't they, Tom?
They did actually, yes.
Yeah. So
Pat and yes.
If I test KH in the tank on Salifert, I tend to match KH keepers. But customers who are more often than not male and Duncan tend to get us ever so slightly different reading to me, about 0.15 out, right?
Male
So-
and Duncan.
No, male customers / Duncan.
With
We'll
his-
test
with
them a little bit
his
differently.
little wetsuit.
Little Duncan.
With his pathetic eyes.
Trina.
But no,
Yes,
what
Trina.
it doesn't matter if you're testing KH slightly out, but it does matter if you're testing it consistently. So we're looking for consistency in readings. So if a KH keeper is being consistent and it's giving me results that look accurate, and it's the same with, Trident Apexes and all of that stuff, as long as it's giving me a number that looks like it's making sense,
Yeah,
it's doing enough of a job.
agreed. It's about trends, isn't it? It's actually an indicator. So even if it's out, you can still tell if it's going up or down and if it's stable. So yeah, I think that about all testers really.
Do you not think though that you could calibrate your machine and everything is fine, but then you do a titration test and somebody does it wrong, and then they take that wrong reading and then decide that the machine isn't reading right? So then this is where I think sometimes in the hobby you end up going down a slippery slope, sort of guessing what your numbers are.
You can calibrate against your titration test. That's
True.
what I do.
Yeah.
That's what I do with the KH Manager.
Yeah.
And this is why we get customers who really know what they're doing still coming into the shop occasionally with a little pot of water saying, can you just test my KH?
What do you think that? Yeah, because I think you want that second opinion though, don't you? As humans,
Yeah,
I think
second and or third.
Second and or third, definitely. I think that's just
check in on a Hannah, check it with like a Salifert kit, check it on whatever device you're using to maintain it, and kind of make an educated guess about where you think it is, and then set your electronic checker to the middle one.
I mean, I keep telling Ron that nano tank on that speaker needs a water change, but he won't listen to me.
Oh, have you noticed it's a different one this week?
I have noticed it. That's what I'm saying. It needs an algae magnet on it.
You need to swap that. I said the guys don't care.
Oh,
it's a marble. No,
should have had a Santa hat on it though, Ron. Next week.
Oh, I'll get on that.
Come on.
I've been told off for having a Christmas tree up on the 6th of December.
Ours went up today.
Yeah, it hasn't been up since yesterday.
They're expensive. Get your money's worth.
Okay.
Surely you provided your own Christmas tree from your own.
Yes, I stole it. We always take a really shit-looking one to make sure the customers get the good one. So the one we've got here is horrendous. It's not that bad. Just on the subject of so I calibrate all of my tridents with Hannah's. I don't use their calibration solution. In fact, do you even get the calibration solution in the UK now with the standard reagents? Because I use ABC now, so I don't even get the calibration solution. So yeah, I calibrate all of mine with the Hannah checkers.
Yeah.
Although it's frustrating when someone has got the full set of Hannah checkers and they come into the store and you're really busy and they say, oh, just check this, like we've just talked about. And I'll pull out like a Salifert, take ages, and I say, what would you like me to test? And you know they always say everything, and you just go, I can't do everything. It's really busy, and you don't even need me to test everything. And I've got a Salifert test kit. And then by the end of it, I say, your phosphate is 0.04, and they'll go, yeah, that's what my Hannah checker said. And you're like, I've just spent half an hour like doing that for you, and you've got the full set of Hannah checkers. A Hannah checker is far more accurate than a 11 pound Salifert test kit.
That's when the Aquaspin comes into its own.
Oh no, I hate them.
It's out on calcium though, isn't it? By about 100.
About a billion, million, trillion. It also loves giving. It also loves giving ammonia readings, really high ammonia readings. I remember when those first came out, right? And this man comes into the shop with one in a briefcase.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've got this new product. It's called the Aquaspin. It's amazing. It'll test all your water in 1 minute. And I was like, okay. And this is when we had that big, lovely tank at the last shop, the big 8x4x4 with millions of acros in it. Beautiful. Been going a few years at this point. And I had just done all the water tests. And I said, well, I've just done all the water tests for that. So why don't you spin some water and see what you get? And the guy was like, oh, well, no one's asked me to show it yet. I was like, let's do it. He did it. It came back with an ammonia reading of 4.
Wow.
And also it said the calcium was like 320. Said the KH was 10. And I just said, yeah, I don't think so.
Mine's been really good.
Oh. The problem with things being 10% out, right? If we're aiming for calcium of, say, 440, if it's 10% out, your calcium could be 440 and you're getting back a reading of 480, at which point you drop down your dosing when you don't need to. Or you get back a reading of 400 where you drastically up it, and then you do push your calcium to about 500, even though it was perfect. And then the next week, it might give you 10% in the other direction.
I struggle to trust any test, I'll be honest. There's not one test that I would completely and utterly put my money on.
I'd put money on Hannah Ultra Low Range Phosphate.
I do use that, yeah.
But that's the one I do. That's the one I do. Parts per billion.
Put my money on it. I think there needs to be more work done in the industry. Testers, I really do. There's some really flaky ones out there. I mean, I've only just finally now plucked up the courage to get the proper Tropic Marin glass hydrometer.
Yeah.
And oh my God, my Hannah pens have been 1023 for years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, anything that's using a conductivity probe to measure salinity does not have a life that is very long.
Yeah, I'm just glad I did this. But it does, what it has shown me is that the Hannah is consistent at 2 below where it should be. I've got 2 and they are both 3 instead of 102.5 in the Hannah pen, and it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I like just a trusty refractometer. One of the nice D&D refractometers. They aren't expensive. They work. You can check if they're right because you can put some RO on there and check that the thing's down at 0. And if it's not, you just turn the screw and you make sure it is at 0.
Yeah, because salinity is really important. If you start with bad salinity, you're just doomed. You know, because everything's out forever.
Yeah.
So you've got to get it right.
It's really important now because I mean, a lot of people are running stuff like there's Elements pH Plus, myself included, but that will actually raise your salinity over time. You know, if it's left unchecked, so you do need to actually check it more. Whereas in the past, you didn't have to do that so much.
Which tester is it? So, which test do we all think is the most difficult one to do, and why?
I've done some old school copper tests that were hard, and I think was it iodine or something that was just horrible and really kind of wishy-washy. I can't remember, but the color change. I think it was iodine.
I don't think I can go back to testing phosphate manually after using the Hannah.
Yeah, I just like a number. I just like a number instead of trying to tell what color it is and getting multiple people's opinions on it. Just give me a number.
Well, it's giving you a range, isn't it? That's between this number and this number. Even if you do it a couple of times, you know it's within that range. Whereas, how many times when I first got in the hobby, you were literally walking your next door neighbour. Does that look blue to you? I don't know. Getting this white wall. Does that look blue to you? I don't know. Have I got phosphate? Have I not?
In the street. Is that blue?
Is that blue?
I did once because I'm a massive nerd. Test a load of water, the same water on every brand of test kit we sold in the shop, and wrote down the number. And then I sent that water off for an ICP, and I remember every single brand that made the test kit that was the most accurate. And I stick to that.
Doggy,
is that your dog? This is my dog Lola. Yeah.
Hey Lola.
All right, Lola.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Yeah, she's waiting at the door because she knows Kazan's going to turn up any minute probably. She's got this sense; it's unreal. So I'm just going to jump into the comments. We've got Greg here from last Friday. Jeremy,
hey, Greg.
Evening, Greg.
Thanks for coming on, Greg. Hope you're good, mate. And thanks again for coming on last week. It was great to have you on. It was a blast, mate. Thanks for being part of the network. but no, I'm interested to know what other people are saying in terms of test kits. I mean, for me, it was the is it the Hannah one? It's the nitrate one. Me and Jay talked about it on the Friday night stream years ago. The one you've got the pen and you've got like the filter paper, and I'm sure it's a
Is that the Red Sea version? Sorry,
I can't remember. The
Red Sea version's got the little filter papers you've got and stuff.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
The Red Sea ones were really accurate, but they were hard to read.
Yeah. Might be the high range one.
Anna for the win.
Yes, the 17-minute one, Zoo. Thanks. Happy Friday to you. Thanks, Johnny. Yes, it's 17 minutes, that one altogether.
Oh.
Yeah. Nightmare. Yes.
That is long. Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah,
So
we use Hannah high range, and that takes 7.
It's a good one, though, isn't it?
It's really good. Yeah, you can. I've actually worked out that you can get the Hannah high range going, start the phosphate one going, and then do a calcium and a KH test on titrations all before the Hannah checker times 0, and you should get the phosphate and the phosphate and the nitrate ending about the same time. So you've done 4 tests in 7 minutes.
And this is why the Hannah multi-parameter tester gets slammed, because you can only do one at a time.
yeah, that makes no sense, does it? For all that money. Right. Okay.
Yeah. I think I agree with Zachary. Salifert for calcium, or I actually find ever so slightly more accurate is the Reef Factory calcium.
Do you?
Ooh,
that's
yeah.
Interesting.
It's quite a good colour change, isn't it? It's quite
really strong, yeah. And they're cheap as well. They're the same price as the Hannah test kit, as the Salifert test kits.
Well, you're getting some. You got some fans in here tonight, Sapphire. I do the same. Same Sapphire. Oof. Sapphire fan club. Woohoo!
Well, it's because my job in the shop is water testing, so yeah.
Okay. Tommy B. Tommy B 1508. Can I ask, do you check your salinity to 1.25 or 35 ppt? Thanks. Evening, Tommy B.
On a D&D, I'm probably more like 1.026, which is 35.5, I think.
Yeah, we run ours a bit lower. We go for 1.025, which is closer to just a smidgen over 34, just because we run Reef's elements on everything in our shop, and that's being built around.
Cool.
Wrong. 1.025.
26.
You also run your temperature strangely warmer than everybody else, don't you, Tom? You're up at 28 nearly?
27 to 28, I run my tank at, yeah.
That is warm.
Is that for growth?
Yes.
I know a few people who deliberately run them a bit hotter because they live in warmer houses, and then when there are heat waves in the summer, there's less of a change in the water.
Correct. That's what started it. So originally my journey onto temperature was instigated by me always running T5s, and the T5s that I had on my display tank downstairs had to be built into a pelmet, and the heat would just build up. It was just horrendous. So I went to the coral cares, but before I went to the coral cares, because obviously I didn't want to spend the money because I already got the T5 units. I must have spent about probably 2 or 3 weeks reading about temperature, especially in hotter countries like America and other places, what they do and what they run their tanks at. And I found that it wasn't all that big a deal. And then I started to read a few scientific papers from scientists and marine biologists that spent a lot of their careers out, obviously, in the ocean researching parameters. And there was a paper, and I talked about it on your channel, Ron, ages ago. I'm sure I did, about or we talked about it about, I can't remember the person that wrote it, or the people that wrote it. They're basically saying that they couldn't understand why a lot of marine hobbyists try and create an ecological system, or ecosystem, should I say, sorry, or parameters for an ecosystem in a tank that is for a combination of so many different creatures and organisms that live at so many different variable areas in terms of temperature and salinity and everything else from where they're originally found. and they were basically it's about an 11, 12-page document, and it basically was on to say that their argument as marine biologists was that you would have more success if you had a tank with one species of animal that was in an environment that was dedicated to its original environment in terms of temperature and salinity and everything else. So I'm not saying the corals that I get are obviously all from the same coral. They're not going to be, but that was something that I thought I'd try, and I tried it, and I've had the tank running for about 18 months now, and within 3 months of increase the temperature, my clowns that I've had for 10 years spawn every 2 weeks, and the chromis, 2 pairs of chromis that I've had for God knows how many years, they spawn every 2-3 weeks. And the everything, the metabolic sort of everything in the tank just is increased significantly. So I feed heavier. I make sure I've got a lot more flow, so there's a lot more, my ORP levels are high enough, and I have run a high light, and I grow I have a lot of organics as a byproduct of that, and I have to deal with that. But I've just seen a different type of marine tank. It's been interesting. I'll stop.
You lost me. You lost me when you said you read something, Tom. I don't know.
He said he read a scientific paper by scientists.
10 pages. He definitely
12 pages.
One line and went, "Where's the pictures?"
No, but it kind of made sense to me, because I thought to myself, well, when I first got in the hobby, I was like, what temperature do you run your tank at? And it was like 25, 26, whatever. And what they basically say is that's fine to a proportion of the creatures that you keep in a marine aquarium, but that isn't going to satisfy all those individual creatures based on their original habitat, where they, habitats of where they originally came from. Because you've got corals from, this deep in the ocean to meters up in the ocean, and it makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah, but then do you also do things like like let your barley slimer out of the water sometimes, so it can because a lot of these like staghorns are coastal, right, and they live in tidal areas. Exactly. The water, that's why they go so slimy. But I'm not going to be dropping my water level in my tank to let my stag stick out.
No, I'm not saying you should. I'm not saying I'm going to mimic the that in terms of tide going out and in. But all I'm saying is a lot of these corals are probably. It was all about it. And again, don't quote me, but it was all about the metabolic rate that the coral and the animal could basically use the energy from the light and turn it into food as a source, and it was easier for it to convert that energy into that light into sort of energy, into a food source, with the water being warmer, with SPS corals in particular. And I run it at 27 to 28, and I don't lose any corals.
Well, heat is a catalyst, isn't it?
Yes.
So yeah. Things go fast. I've heard a coral farmer once told me years ago that temperature was a factor in speeding up growth, and Jake Adams used to say it as well. He said it was one of his top 3 parameters: salinity, temperature, and pH.
And I keep the pH above 8.3.
So you're just flying. You're just like high flow, high light, heavy in.
I call it a high energy reef. Yeah. Heavy in, heavy out. Yeah. So high light, high flow. Apart from
that's low energy. That's a low energy reef.
No, but it just made sense though. I just thought, well, let's listen to the people that go and spend decades out in the field or the ocean, researching this information, and we. The funniest thing is we refer to these people and go, oh, the pH has dropped in so many years because of this, that, and the other. Well, let's also listen to what else they've said. These creatures that we're taking from the ocean, or taking from farms that have taken from the ocean and bringing into the hobby or into the trade. Yes, this can survive. That was the argument of this paper. They can survive in certain parameters, but actually they're used to thriving in slightly different parameters. So if you replicate those parameters where they're originally found, your chance of them thriving is increased. That's it. For me, it makes more sense. A polar bear is going to be a bit more happy in the North Pole than it is in Doncaster in the wildlife park.
Not if it's in Iceland.
That's what I'm saying.
I think, like you say, there's a lot of different conditions out there for a lot of different corals. So I would only personally be satisfied if I like went to Indonesia, and I've never been, and then found my coral in its place and took some water parameters. But even then, that's probably going to change throughout the year. And I know a guy who went out to Indo who said that they actually move the corals on the trays with regard to temperature as well. So the racks are actually moved. When it gets too hot, they'll move them out into deeper water because it's cooler.
Wow.
So it's a bit of both, really. And obviously we know what happens when corals get too hot.
Yes,
it's
coming on to Sapphire's point, I just think with me in the UK, having running a tank a little bit warmer, like you were saying, it sort of hardens them in a way, toughens them up a little bit to be more accommodating when we have spikes in the summer, in the warmer months. So you're not panicking as much.
I mean, I think if you're trying to really get hardy corals in your tank, seeking ultimate perfection is not always the way.
Fluctuations, but not spikes.
Yeah. So I I said I've got my first KH keeper, which I'm very excited about, but I have never really controlled KH that absolutely fine-tuned in my tanks. I test it, but not every day, and it does move around a bit. And sometimes some other things move around a bit quite quickly, I don't really ever lose any corals, and I never have. I think if changes are gradual enough and things like nutrients and trace elements, if you're doing ICPs, are there to support it, little fluctuations shouldn't really have the death effect. And then I think if you've had those corals for a long time, what you're left with is stuff that's absolutely unkillable. So I've got things in my tank that I've had for probably 6 years now. They've been through all sorts and they've never died. And I've fragged them and I've sold the frags at the shop. And when I sell them, I always say to people, that coral is really, really hardy. And I think that's why a lot of maricultured stuff doesn't always do very well, because it's lived in the sea where it's nice and stable. But when you're getting captive pieces that are line bred, they're really tough. So I always use torches as an example. Like maricultured torches are generally really hard to keep. But if you're getting crazy expensive torches that are named and have been going for ages, they are way tougher. And that is because they're just used to captivity and they're used to everything not being perfect all the time. It's almost like it's survival of the fittest, really. So those corals are always going to do better.
I'm getting called out on here because it was Jim that I mentioned it last time on your stream, Ron, and I said I would share it. I will share it. I'll find out exactly where it is. I've got it screenshot on my phone because it is interesting for anybody watching to read, us included.
Just Google science paper written by scientists.
No, it is. I literally fell on it. I did fall on it.
Make sure and specify it is 10 pages long.
12 actually.
Oh,
because I realised it was 12 because I ran out of fingers. I had to go onto my toes.
I'm glad you said toes.
Greg say, what does Sapphire consider a slight swing in KH?
Well, in the context of what I was talking about, probably 1. My KH in my tank can swing around by 1 and everything will be absolutely fine and it will look the same. And the only difference is I test it and then I go, oh, that's dropped by 1.
Over what period?
Sometime in a week, right? I test it every week. Test it once a week because I'm lazy. Yeah.
Okay.
But if any of our, and we've seen this before, so our display tank at the shop is primarily acros, and we've got a KH keeper on there. If anything's ever happened and our KH has dropped in there by that same amount over that same period, we see huge effects in the weeks that follow. And I think that's because those corals simply aren't used to that. They're used to that KH never moving.
Sorry to go off subject, Sapphire, but John, this comment, this is exactly what I'm thinking right now, because when the dog was stirring about 10 minutes ago, I thought somebody's coming into the house, and that isn't the case. She's not here. So yeah, it's just getting worse. Anyway, what's Greg saying? I can swing in by 1 in a 4-hour period. Wow. Okay. Wow.
Okay. Yeah, some tanks do.
Still talking about?
Yes, we are, Ron. We are. So we're getting on to the 2.5 hour mark. We're well over 2 hours. Just before we wrap up, what the three of you got planned for the weekend? Anything reefing related, or are you going Christmas shopping, decorations, anything?
Does anybody go actual physical Christmas shopping anymore?
Blokes do on Christmas Eve in Tesco.
Tesco. Lucky ladies.
Yeah. Cards, flowers, chocolate. Yeah.
Bought you a cheese selection. It's really nice.
Yeah.
If somebody bought me a cheese selection, I'd be over the moon. I won't lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
A supplier brought us some wine yesterday and a box of chocolates. That's great.
Who was that, and why
Nice.
didn't we get one at my shop?
That'd be Steve.
No, we really look forward. You know who gives us the best Christmas presents every year is Exodus.
Is it?
God.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's getting it. Where's
Let me just write that
No,
down.
he's not
Can
sent
you
our
write that
Christmas
down?
present yet. We've not got our Exodus.
Oh dear.
He's getting it.
We've not got our Christmas present from Exodus yet, but every year it's an M&S like double box of the gold like selection biscuits.
Ooh, nice.
Jeremy, do you want to text them now, or will I do it? I'm just.
Do it.
I don't know how abusive you want to go. Do you want to do the warm-up one, and I'll just knock it home with them?
I'm just going to WhatsApp every store in the UK and just go, guess what Sapphire gets at Yorkshire Reefs?
I was actually really upset because Duncan left the last shop a couple of months before me. So I was still working at the old shop, and he sent me a photo of his Exodus biscuits that he had got for Christmas that year. And he said, "Did you get one?" And I said, "No." And they sent one to Duncan.
no.
We always got them at the old shop. As soon as Duncan left, no more biscuits.
Oh dear. So what have you got planned for the weekend, Sapphire? Are you working? You got anything?
I'm working on Sunday.
Okay. Yeah.
I like working the weekend. It's nice. And then we're off to see my other half's family tomorrow.
Cool. Okay. What's your plans for the tank behind you, other than the Christmas lights we can see?
Hold on,
What?
has he just walked in? Is he drunk?
He's just walked in. He's not drunk. No,
Okay.
Oh.
he's actually doing the laundry, which is quite good.
What?
What? He's just walked in. He's doing the laundry. He really is drunk.
My plans for the tank behind me: get this KH keeper on.
Yeah.
It's only had corals in for 14 months, but I think the lights are off, but the growth is all right. Like things are big.
Thank you.
And get some nice acros in. I mean, I'm really, really trying with this tank to only put really nice special stuff in it. I don't want to have filler in it. My last tank was very much like nubbins that I had been handed by Duncan in the shop. You know, he's knocking bits off a coral by accident and being like, stick that in your tank, see what happens. There you go.
Yeah.
But now I want some nice, really, really, really lovely stuff. I've got some beautiful trackies and like gonnies and stuff.
Sapphire, just when can we book the tank tour in?
Oh yeah.
You know what?
Tank tour, tank tour, tank tour, tank tour, tank tour, tank tour, tank.
Do you want to know a secret? It's not really a secret, but
it's not your house. It's not your house. No?
My secret is nobody who knows about reef tanks has ever seen my tank.
Well, I don't know anything, so you're fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't really see it now. The lights are off, but no, I mean, I don't really have like fish tank friends. I have customers I got on really well with, but anyone who's got a decent fish tank in my area comes to the shop I work in. It's weird to have them in my house, you know? I mean, Duncan's seen it, but that's it.
So what date, sorry?
20 when the warranty on that new power head runs out. 5 years. 2029.
Should be grown in by then. Should be nicely grown in.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I abuse my tank at home a little bit compared to the level of tanks in the shop.
I don't believe that.
I think working in a shop all day and then coming home and thinking, I must check my phosphate is not something I think about very often.
You have got acros though, to be fair. I mean, I was thinking softies for my next tank, just because that's proper low maintenance.
I find acro's really low maintenance in this tank. I mean, I really stand by this BRS souping method. Everything's unkillable.
I'll kill
Well,
him.
I'm nowhere near as experienced as some people in the comments with acros. I mean, I would say I've messed around with him for the last 5 or 6 years, but seriously, over the last 2-3 years, I've really got into it, and I just think there's so much about regards bacteria that is dictated to with sticks that we don't realise. I really do. I really do. I don't think the nitrates and the phosphates, and this is coming from somebody that's run KZ for the last God knows how many years. That just goes out the window now. I'm getting to a point now. I'm not even worried about nitrates and phosphates anymore. I'm really not. Salinity and alkalinity for me, and the pH, as long as it's not too high, I just think that you can just harden them up. I think if you've got the right bacteria load in your tank and it's mature, and I think I was saying this to somebody the other day, literally in the last few days. The common denominator in this hobby is people say, wait till your tank matures. And I think that phrase of wait till your tank matures is literally a representation of when that bacteria load has matured. Which I think you can obviously fast track with certain things like live rock and tank out of a mature system. And I think you can just fast track it. I really do. And when you start seeing, to be fair to Scott, who was in the chat earlier, he said this to me ages ago, start seeing coralline algae, it's a good indicator to start putting SPS in. And as soon as I did, I started putting SPS in, and I wasn't losing them. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't testing my water like every day, but I was testing it, regularly. But it wasn't like, oh my God, I've got acros, I've got to test them every day. I was just like, cool, man, just see what happens. And they've just grown, and they've done great. And I just think a lot of it is.
I don't disagree. I think a lot of it probably is bacterial related, but you can still curate that. And the most important, I mean, look, the bacteria is going to grow in. The most important thing is having food in there for them. So just filling it with fish. Just have loads of fish.
Yeah. Having the right balance. Yeah.
Have loads of fish. Have a roller filter. Bung in a load of bacteria. It'll be fine.
Do it all in a day.
You know what? My last tank, I did put acros in on day 3.
Did you?
And I still had them when I shut that tank down.
Wow. Cool. Cool. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Jeremy, I hope you have a nice weekend. I don't know what we've got planned. Anything much? Christmas shopping now?
Working tomorrow, so just going to get that out of the way. Yeah, so testing water, bagging fish, corals, cleaning tanks, eating loads of junk food because working makes me hungry, and that's about it.
Carrying Samaro.
Or not carrying it, filling it and then just kind of looking away.
Well, it's 25 to 11, so it looks like I'm going to be dealing with somebody screaming down the toilet tomorrow in my house. So I'll have to deal with mopping that up. Ron, anything to talk about? Anybody on Sunday on Reef AF? Anything?
Yes. So we've got a tank tour tomorrow night. 8 p.m. UK time, if anyone wants to join in. And then we have Salty Banter on Sunday afternoon at 3.
Right, okay.
Busy weekend. But other than that, just working.
Right,
so hopefully we'll sell out our Christmas trees, and then we just need to deliver the rest of them next week, and then that's us sorted. Done.
And if anybody wants to jump on, they can jump on this link. Is that right? So your Discord channel? Yes. So it's normally a Sunday afternoon, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's going to be tomorrow. You say tomorrow night for this
tomorrow night is a tank tour, Bearded Reef Guy, and then Sunday afternoon is Salty Banter when literally anyone can join and talk about their weekend reefing.
Cool. So, and if you don't want to be, if you're a bit camera shy and you don't want to be in front of the camera or see anybody, you can do it behind a closed door, but you can still comment and speak or just listen or narrate or whatever you want to do. You can be involved. Okay. Like some of the comments already mentioning, please do give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, we do appreciate the support. But that leaves me to say thank you very much, Sapphire. Thank you very much, Ronald. And thank you very much, Jeremy, for putting the news together and your participation this evening, my friend.
No worries. I enjoyed it.
Seeing you next Friday to referee the battle of what I would say the stickheads. Should be a good one.
Nice to meet you, Sapphire and Ron.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet
you. Happy Friday, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Thanks,
and we will see you all Sunday.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.